Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 42 of the Cross Your Bow podcast. I'm, of course, your host, your most average host with the most average face on Twitch, sirvenomik. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? With me tonight is for the, I don't know, sixth, seventh time that you've been on the show, MEjash,
I don't think it's been that many, has it?
It's been quite a bit. I mean, like, you're probably the guy that's been on the most.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Top on the top.
Hell yeah. Twitch.tv/MEjash or over on the twatters at MEjash TV. And I didn't get your YouTube channel. I'm assuming it's youtube.com/MEjash.
Yeah, it's just easy.
Let me add that. I should have added that earlier. Oh, well, we'll just go without it. Either way, MEjash, what you been working on this week, man?
Finishing up the PR grind and kind of just prepping, for 9.0 is gonna be boring, man. There's like nothing to do. So what have I been doing? Just kind of chilling. Oh, I kind of want to get the Ohio, so I need to start focusing.
I'm pretty close to the Ohio myself. I'm in the regrinds right now. Finished up. I think we're about halfway through the FDG, which is the Tier 9 German battleship, if anybody doesn't know that. And then I finished up the Hindenburger again. So we got through that, and we're on the Brazindi, and we're about 100,000 into the Brazindi, going into Tier 10. So, but that doesn't have anything to do with the regrind. That's just the first grind through.
I wanna get the Ohio, and then I want to go down the Italian line on the alt account and see if my opinion on it changes.
My opinion of the Italians they're all kind of crap until Tier 9. And then just the pure amount of guns on Tier 9 and 10 just make up for the crap that you have. Because I know Tier 5 is 152s, and they do nothing versus battleship armors, and so on and so on. It gets a little bit better at 6, and a little bit it's okay at 7. 8's kind of meh, but 9 is actually where it picks up, I think, to where you can actually be consistent with the damages and stuff. That's my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Overall, have I enjoyed it? I've enjoyed absolutely wrecking destroyers and cruisers. The AP on them is very, very good. So I highly recommend people swapping over back and forth. Expert loader is
expert loader is kind of needed.
Choice here. So that's what we've been working on this week. PR. Yeah, we've been playing a lot of the Puerto Rico lately, Josh, and I'm pleasantly surprised about this thing. As much people has given it a whole lot of crap, and let's all agree here that the information that we got on how to grind this and what exactly we needed to do was really sketchy and not really up to par, I don't think, for what Wargaming has done in the past. But it was I'll just flat out fucking say it. It was a terrible grind for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not so much that everyone's giving the Puerto Rico. It was more about like the entire event was just so it would have been such a better event if the information they gave us a weekend, something like that.
Yeah.
Was released. Like, hey, this is what you need to do from this point on, or if you want to do it this way, or if you want to do it this way, this is what you need to do. Like that should have been like, hey, day one is that should have been the info from.
Well, since we're all about giving credit to people here, I want to let you know that I had two guys in the channel, Mo Like It and Sir Gods. They ground well over 1,000 co-op games to get their Puerto Ricos.
He was saying, co-op was definitely the way to do it, man.
Sir Gods himself was saying that he had to grind 100. He was playing 134 co-op games a day, just taking one or two things at a time and just rolling 2 or 3 boats back and forth over and over and over again, 4 or 5 minute games, and then by the time that one was over, he was already halfway through another game. So
I guess, man. I guess I don't know. I would have thrown down for one booster, just keep your sanity. Well, that's what I would have done. Or two.
Funny thing is that he actually had one booster. One of the clanmates gave him one of the first booster. So and then he played 1,000 games of co-op with one booster. The other guy, I think when he bought his, he got doubloons out of the out of the Santa boxes, which were not
Yeah.
very good this year. Well, not for me. They weren't good for me this year because I got everything, and I know you got everything
Yeah.
too. So,
First problems.
well, yeah, real world problems, boys. I didn't have to spend the money, so that's fine. But anyway, he said he bought the first booster as well and still played over 1,000. Both of them did. So
That's so many co-op games, dude. To just for overall a ship that's kind of like, it's all right.
It's not terrible. It's
Yeah.
definitely not the best tier 10 cruiser. It's I think it's probably closer to the bottom of the barrel. But when you get broadside shots on cruisers, it murders them. And
It's big caliber for sure.
You definitely do. You can definitely do some damage with your HE as well, and it's definitely another boat that you need expert loader on, so you can swap back and forth to get those optimal shots.
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rico, man, what a grind! What a grind! I didn't grind any of it. I wailed the fuck out of it. That period.
Well, you went out and just bought it like instantly, right?
Well,
It was like day one, and you just snagged it.
As soon as I could, yeah. I ended up paying 2,000. I had to buy 2,000 doubloons to finish it up. That's it.
That's not too.
No, I mean with all the being as a community contributor, and here's some more first world problems.
Hashtag Wargaming Show.
Yep. Hashtag Wargaming Chill here, community contributor.
Yep.
They gave us that 24,000 doubloons, and I dumped it straight in there for the first 3. And then I was like, you know what? I've got like 33,000 doubloons sitting here for the last 3 months that I haven't used. So let's go ahead and buy the other 2,000 and finish it up. So we did.
Yeah, it's a bummer because it's just that ship. Well, I mean, like that ship will forever be tainted in a way, or like it'll remind you of like, oh man.
Remember this?
Remember this event, right?
Remember
like
the Pearls grind for the Kamikaze?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like that was cool, but like it kind of sucks that the event itself or the ship itself will almost be tainted. But I hope and pray that they take the good parts of it, because that was the cool thing. I liked watching the ship being. I liked the animations. It was cool to see like the progress and the buildings changes. So I hope they take that on the next thing, whatever the next ship is, and they do it on and work with it.
I thought the dockyard or the building of the ship was pretty cool, but once you see it once, you really need to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things.
Cool,
like,
though.
Woohoo! Yay! It's awesome, but it's gonna pretty much be the same for every boat that you see now. So it's like, do they waste their time on frivolous things that really don't mean anything? The answer is yes, they do. Definitely. Look at scenarios.
Yeah.
They're not making any more scenarios anymore because nobody plays them. Well, there's no reason to play them once you get 5 stars anymore.
They could really save like all that, because that's the downside, right? You get your 5-star, then you're good.
Yeah.
The only reason you do the Halloween ones over and over and over, or
camos,
insert anything, is to get the
rewards.
Points you need, or get the rewards, or get that they need to make some kind of. They need to do more with campaigns, man. I don't know.
We were talking about this the other day in the show. Where's the new campaign? What was Yamamoto and Halsey was the last 2 campaigns that they put out, and that was it. They didn't even have the buy the steel monsters this year.
Mm-hmm.
Buy the steel.
I don't even care, just because I love campaigns, because it makes you go out and do things, right? And it gives you other things to work on while you're working on things that aren't just kind of like brain dead directives.
Right.
Like I like going out there and like, getting torpits with, insert a nation of ships or
random nation,
or whatever. Yeah, anything, right? So it makes you go out and do kind of specific things. And it's just like they could even post those up in like, who knows? They could post those up in I know everyone's gonna be like, oh, that's stupid, don't do that. But like they could post those in the research bureau as like for 5,000 points you can unlock another campaign or something like that. Because I feel like this year we're going to get a big push for them doing more and more and more in the bureau.
I think that the original when it was called the Naval Training Center, and how much of a fiasco or how much kickback that they had on that. Now I'm forced to do this to get those buffs on those ships, right? That was the original onset of it. I think that they say, well, we don't care. We're just going to release it as modules, and that's something that we talked about the original in the original podcast that week. We were talking about Naval Training Center and saying, oh, it doesn't even matter anymore, simply for the fact that they're just going to release these buffs for these ships in module form, period. And as we see, we're getting a lot of changes in modules, but not quite to the extent that they had planned it originally.
Oh no, yeah, not even close.
Yeah.
Like the original ones were like kind of looked around and you go, you can't be serious.
Yeah.
Like they were insane.
Yep. Speaking of insane, do you want to chat about the clan battle season?
We can chat about whatever you want, man.
All right. So since I don't play a whole lot of clan battles, I'm going to leave this one up to you.
Roger.
Do you want to give the details here for it? I got a little bit of the details. I think I know I got details for the rank season.
Yeah, the upcoming is going to be 7v7 tier 10 snooze alert, and tier 10 one battleship, no CVs. But this season is going to be different, so it's going back to basically old tier, old format. And but this season, I think on 3 of the 7 maps that are in the rotation, there's going to be guaranteed cyclones, but the cyclones are different, which is a point I want to talk about.
Okay.
Cyclones are different, not a 8-kilometer cyclone, but a 12.
Ugh.
And they will be there at a guaranteed time, last a guaranteed time, and then fade out.
So what you're telling me with 12 kilometer cyclones, it's going to be like just 7 goddamn Stalingrads or Moskvas.
Well, we were talking about that a little bit today on stream before we started out the podcast, and it was, it makes sense, right? 12 kilometers, 12-kilometer radar, you get spotted, you pop that, but Kleber is still a thing. So do you not care and you just wolf pack and overwhelm the enemy with whatever 70 knot torps and gun reload and like does the Kleber still just for that type of does it just still take over? I don't know.
Did it take over last season?
Yeah, I think it was kind of swarms of Klebers with a couple Russian ships and yada yada. So
Man,
to me, it seems very much just bring radar ships, but obviously we will see a different meta. Whatever is the strongest go up, and I always forget about the Kleber just being kind of this maniac of a ship.
Well, there's something interesting here that I read. Only one battleship per team. That's pretty standard. No carriers. No carriers.
I thought they were balanced, dude. What do you mean?
And this is something we'll talk about the next rank season here in a minute. But this is something that I don't know. Maybe you agree with this, but carriers have no business in competition here because they just have too much control.
I think it's very much the competition. It depends on like number of ships. Is like 7v7, 8v8. I think it's pretty tough. I mean, maybe getting a 12v12 isn't 12v12, 9v9. It might be a little bit different, but yeah. Anyways, regardless.
Right. Let's see. The battles will be fought on Hotspot, Sea of Fortune, Tears of the Desert, Crash Zone Alpha, Mountain Range, which is another map that I'm not a fan of in competition. Land of the Fire, North. All domination.
Mm-hmm.
The season's Cyclone are guaranteed to appear on the mountain range, Land of Fire, North. So you probably won't get a Cyclone in any of the other maps, but on those 3 maps, you're definitely going to get a Cyclone. It will start 5 minutes after the battle. 1 minute into the Cyclone being active, the spotting range is lowers to its lowest point is 12 kilometers. 6 minutes after the beginning of the Cyclone, spotting range will start returning to standard values over the course of 2 minutes, finally ending the Cyclone 8 minutes after it began. So 13 minutes, the Cyclone's over.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one thing, too. Like, there'll be metas based around that, but you don't know what you're going against. Right? You don't know what map you're going against. So you kind of just have to do, it's 3 of 7, so it's less than half. Do you plan like you're not going to get it? Like, what do you prepare for, right? Do you prepare for the Cyclone or do you prepare to not get it? So
I think you just call a spade and just be like, okay, we're just going to pretend that we're going to get it every game, and then and then work your team strategy around that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to get it. Okay, good. If we do get the map, all right, we already know what we're going to do. We already know what we need to do. If we're not going to get it, then we know what we need to do on this particular map because it's we've played these maps like a bajillion times. So
yeah, yeah. I've talked to a few people that play kind of high level clan battles, and it's obviously they aren't giving out their total strat, but very much Russian heavy, because of the 12-kilometer radar, and we'll see. Maybe we'll see the rise of the Summers. We'll see the rise of the Shimmer or something like that. Who knows? But it'll still be pretty Russian heavy. Kleber probably be in the wild card.
Well, with no CVs, there's nothing to really stop them. So
yeah,
there you go. Well, let me read the rest of this thing.
Oh, Venom.
Yeah.
It was the 200 IQ. That's what it was. Remember how the Smolensk was a D grade. C grade, D grade. What was it?
Oh,
for
it was
rank?
a D grade ship. According to Wargaming staffer, former staffer, whatever you want to call it. It was a D grade ranked ship.
So what do? They get a season of clan battles
that specifically counters it.
That specifically counters the Smolensk. See, the Smolensk isn't even competitive in clan battles either. D grade again. Hashtag D grade again.
D grade again.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's interesting. I don't like I said, I don't normally play clan battles, and I'm definitely not going to play this season. Strictly tier 10. I'm not a big fan of tier 10s, but that's besides the point. To anybody out there that is going to play, though, I wish you all the best luck. Have fun. Get your steel and get the fuck out, man. That's all I got to say about that.
It's less and less people each season, so.
Now this kind of begs the question. Now, I've asked this question to some of the guys in the chat before, and you played pretty heavily when it first came out, and I don't think you've played too much since then. But do you think clan battles is dying off? I know.
Oh, 100%.
We've talked about it. And what's the problem with clan battles then?
Steel. Just the reward. No, the steel. Just the rewards that go along with it. Steel's been so devalued the way that it's incrementally given out. You need to play less games.
People care
You can
less.
get a decent amount just for playing some Storm games. So what you end up doing is you are kind of just slowly killing off like the middle group of players. So you have people that are going in there for the first time, and you have the guaranteed player base, which is going to be like the competitive
the
guys,
higher
right?
clans,
The top 25 on each server are going to play every season no matter what. And apparently they're even starting to play less because you have guys with 40,000 steel just sitting there.
Yeah,
so
there's nothing to buy. They've already got everything that they wanted out of it. And either they're waiting for the next steel ship to come out. That's why they have the stockpile, or they're just barely they're just short a little bit, and that's the only reason why they're playing.
So I stopped playing. The last season we played was the first season of Steel, which was the first season you needed to play to get the Stalingrad.
Right.
I think that was the last season I played. And we hit Hurricane. We were purple.
They initiated Steel after that tier 10 rank season, right? And they nerfed the Yu Yang right at that same point.
Yeah.
Because the Yu Yang was the boat that I ranked out in for my 5th rank out season to get the black. And then they released it. They released Steel, and so my accomplishment was thrown out the window.
So it's just it's a few things, but it's the reward system. It's easier to get Steel. Steel's available in other ways. We just have the snowflakes. We have other things that give Steel. Directives gave Steel. Yada yada yada. But then they release a couple ships that are kind of mediocre, and you get in there and you start playing a couple ships, and when there's less clans playing, you're still going to have the same amount of competitive clans.
Fair.
So, when you have less clans playing overall, that means newer clans that are maybe starting to get into clan battles are going to be playing against potentially higher level clans because there's just less clans in general. So,
right.
Imagine if you went in there and you're playing 10 games a night, you finally get 7 guys together, 10 games a night, and you're playing against Hurricane level clans when you guys are only Storm, just got into Storm, and you're just getting stopped. You get 1 win a night, 2 wins a night. I mean, that gets old after one night.
Oh yeah,
let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of the people, out there are. I don't even know what I was going to say anymore. Either way, guys, we're hanging out with my man MEjash,
All
twitch.tv/MEjash over there, at MEjash TV over on the Twitter. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that we're talking about, man, go ahead and at sirvenomik in the chat here, and we'll get to those a little bit later on toward the end of the show. Overall, clan battles is clan battles. People are going to struggle to find enough players to play. I think that 8v8 was rough for a lot of people. 7v7 is still rough for a lot of people. Did you hear the rumors about 12v12 clan battles?
Well, that what they had 9v9, 4v4, and 12v12, right? That was the clan brawls. Wasn't that what those were?
Clan brawls, yeah. 3v3s and shit.
We talked about this yesterday, though, Venom, and let me
right.
bounce this off of you.
All right.
So to get more people playing clan battle, I think what they do is they take the current system and they make the current system a bit more casual. And what I mean by that is maybe they turn it almost into clan battle blitz. Have it maybe be 5v5s, they change it up, smaller teams, more casual, and then they get one season a year that is a bit more hardcore. And we thought about how it's a bit more competitive. Like you go in and you play a 3-game series against a clan, and you play a 3-game series, and you can deny them playing certain ships and playing certain maps, and it's a bit more serious, but at least you have the entire year to plan for it. So you could say, okay, you guys can't use the Kleber, and then they say, well, you guys can't use the Moskva. So you have to.
So you're talking like you want to draft now.
Yeah, almost like a draft at the start, where
so you can't use
each
carrier.
team can kick out.
Period.
Yeah, well, I mean, they would go up whatever the thing is, right? If carriers aren't right to play, but they make the current system a bit more casual because they need to get people playing clan battle, because they're dropping like 5, 6, 7% of players each season. Like the numbers that were like I wouldn't say it's data mined or research, whatever you want to call it. Like there were less people playing 2 seasons ago. We don't have the last season numbers. Less people playing 2 seasons ago than there was in the pilot season. So it's just the numbers aren't healthy. People on both ends aren't playing anymore, and people are playing less games in general.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I played a few clan wars in like the first couple of seasons, and was never really too serious about it. So, is it okay to let the thing die? Do you think? It'd be a good thing
I don't think so.
All right, so
no, I think there's a lot of clans that this is all they have going for them,
right?
Or not in a bad way, but like you get to a point where your win rate's so high and you need something else other. I think having multiple different game modes and options of things to play, I think, is a healthy thing for a game. Having optional things, but they gotta. I think Steel will forever be the anchor that holds clan battles back. They gotta get into a different reward system.
Here's the next question. A lot of people, especially my particular clan, we were very limited on times. So we were never able to get time down to where we could actually consistently play every time that it was up. Do you think that they open it up like a rank battle season where it's just you play anytime, or do you think that there's enough players to do that? Now, I thought that they were going to do that because they were putting the EU and the NA and the Russian servers all together for clan battles. I thought that was the first step to fixing. There's not enough players, and not enough teams on the.
Oh, for sure, I can see that. Yeah, they should have a global queue time. If there are 2 teams that want to play at 3 a.m. in the morning, that isn't 3 a.m. somewhere else in the world, and they have 2 teams that want to play, let them play. Just like ranked battles, if you get X amount of players on each team that want to play, let them play. So it doesn't make any sense really to have like a limited time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if they want to continue to save it, I think that's probably a first step going a long way of opening it up to any time of day. Any time of day.
I think NA's
7 people
at the heart of for kind of like available times because of East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, well,
like West Coast gets totally shit on.
Yeah, it's rough.
I mean, I'll play clan battles.
All right, boys, that's clan battles. So what do you guys think there? Leave it into the chat, and we'll comment on those a little bit later on. Now let's move into the next competitions. One that I experienced the most, the ranked seasons.
Yeah.
The next rank season is scheduled for February the 26th. It'll be the 15th ranked battle season. It'll be held on Tier 10 ships without class restrictions in the 7v7 format. Battles will be conducted in the updated arms race mode. Now, when I say that, what immediately jumps out from you on that?
Oh, the no class restrictions. Like,
so we're gonna have like 3 CVs aside.
I don't know. I mean, to me, because it's such a little tiny snippet of information throughout like everything. It's just like it seems like they just got back from vacation, and they're like, "Hey, insert Russian guy's name. Like, hey, are you done with your rank battle stuff? Like, are you done with your rank battle write up?" And he's like, "Oh, shiza," and he's like, "Ah, da 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 here," and then like sent it out. Like, it seems like they either didn't finish typing all the other information, or they're just like, "Yep, we're gonna be broad as fuck, and it's gonna be good luck," because just to have straight up, I assume, right? If we just assume they're taking away the like limits of that they put on last season, which was battleship. So
right. 1 battleship last time. And that was a Tier 9 rank season, so there was no carriers involved at all, which was a fantastic season. I really enjoyed that Tier 9 rank season. Z46 for me. That was my bread and butter there. One thing that I think a lot of people are going to miss, and I know you posted this a lot in the Discord, but I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention because I thought it was very important information. Arms Race gives buffs, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know. Arms Race gives buffs. Jazz, take us through your favorite buff that's coming for this Arms Race.
Oh, well, favorite buffs or lack thereof. So planes are going to get faster. Planes are going to get heals. They're going to be able to reload their ships, their planes faster. That's on the deck, and all of that with no AA buffs coming from the arms race. So not only do they get faster planes, which means they'll be in AA less, they get heals, which means they'll nullify some AA damage, and the planes that they do lose will get regenerated faster. But we don't get, as surface ships, we don't get higher AA through any of those. So that seemed fun. That seems like a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that again was a
rush typo.
Rushed, yeah, or kind of forgotten about. So because that's just ridiculous. You're going to make basically a god class on potentially a class that there's going to be multiple of in a format that it doesn't work.
Just based on that information, and guys, that's legit. The only information we have is that little sentence that we've had. They released that. What, 2 days ago, and we've been tearing it apart. We've been tearing it apart in the Discords, man. It's been a pretty interesting conversation. It's been one-sided conversation at that. We haven't heard anything back from Wargame.
Haven't heard anything.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing back from Wargame.
Anything. I even asked today again. I was like, "Hey, can we get a word on this?" Negative.
No, they were like, no sprechen Sie English.
Yeah. A lot of Germans working there, huh?
Yeah.
Apparently, from how we say they are.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways,
it's an amazing thing. Number one, rank season at Tier 10. Another one. I don't like Tier 10 rank season. I think the cruisers are too strong for the battleships. They just put out way too much damage, and there's really no counter. Then you add in CVs, and now you're literally taking out one class. The rocket planes hit way too hard for DDs. Here's something that was brought up the other day, and I wanted you to hear this. SAP absolutely shits all over DDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rocket planes absolutely shit all over DDs, right? Why the fuck do they still have Battleship AP not shitting all over DDs? Because they don't give a fuck anymore. They've literally thrown the book that they had and all the bitching and moaning that the destroyer players did to get Battleship AP changed, and they've said fuck you and threw it out the window. Why is this still a thing? Bring it back. Bring back my AP. Bring back my AP. I don't know about that. I mean, it was a little ridiculous over 10 kilometers. Under 10 kilometers, we could talk, about some reduction in damage because it was. I don't know. Over 10 kilometers, we can talk about damage reduction. Under 10 kilometers, fuck that DD. He should not be there. You know, that's that DD's problem.
He messed up.
Yeah, he messed up, and I gotta be able to defend myself, right? Either way, it's a moot point. How do you fix it? Double the damage. That's it. Double the damage, man. Double the damage. I still got to hit you 17 times to fucking kill you, because they're all overpins, and then we're good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'll bring it back, but yeah, I mean, I could see the point, but
Yeah.
it's if we're going off of what we've seen for subs so far, it's about to be a rough life for destroyers going forward in this game.
And you know what's sad about that, Josh, is because destroyers are probably, I want to say, the most important dude on the board. I think they're the most important dude on the board, and we always bitch and moan about having terrible destroyer players not going to do this, not going to do that, and then you're going to put responsibilities on them even further to people who still don't know how to play. It's going to be a terrible. It's gonna take the terribleness of the destroyer community currently in randoms, and it's gonna put it up to 11, motherfucker. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, that's my biggest fear. Like, I'm super optimistic about 2020 for ships, because 2019, in my opinion, was a really bad year for ships. So 2020, I'm optimistic. I mean, I'm optimistic about subs. I know a lot of people are not very optimistic about subs. I am. I think there's potential there, but I think subs are 100% dead on arrival if the job lies upon surface ships, man. Because destroyers, I mean, it's hard enough getting friendly destroyers to not sit and smoke or not go into a spotted radar ship's radar. You know, like, hey, there's a DM there. You can tell because it's spotted on your minimap, and in goes the Camelus Kagero, and just gets absolutely destroyed. And
Camelus,
you're like, well,
smokeless Kagero.
Yeah, yeah, anything. And so, like, having them, I mean, the class already has the smallest HP, biggest kind of risk reward. It's I'm nervous for DDs going forward, just because we still just don't have a lot of info for subs. But yeah. It's rough.
The submarine testing is such a shitty time for me that I've not even played it.
I haven't either. It's not. Well, I guess they did add like a 4-hour window.
Yeah.
This latest one for NA, but before it was really bad for me.
Yeah. I might have to send some messages out and see if I can't get involved in that just to play it. But from what I've seen, they've changed it 14 fucking times. I don't know if it's 14, but I know they've changed it 3 times. There was
it's good though.
This last iteration was they don't even surface anymore.
Yeah, there's no longer the top level. They've changed up oxygen to battery charge. They've done a couple things. So
yeah.
But I'm excited though, because if they're taking time on this, which they need to,
yeah.
You know, they need to take their time, and it looks like they are. So that's why, again, I'm optimistic.
I'm glad that they're taking their time, because apparently they, so far, you know, they said they learned their lesson, which they've said that a lot, but they said they learned their lesson when the CV rework hit, how they just kind of shoehorned it right up in there, and really didn't kind of feel it out. They're taking their time on this. The only question I have for you, do you think that at some point in time this is just not working, guys, we're done? Or do you think that they spent too much time on it so far, they're going to shoehorn this in anyway, whether it's ready or not?
Oh, 100% it comes into the game. Yeah. I knew subs were coming into the game as soon as I saw the Halloween thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly that's exactly what I was saying too. And you know, and they referenced that Halloween event as well. They said, "Well, we shown by our Halloween event that people want to play subs." Motherfucker, that was the only thing to play that fucking Halloween event. Yeah. So what the fuck did your spreadsheet says? No, man, fuck you. That's the only thing we had. We didn't have any other things to play that Halloween, so of course we had to play submarines. So you're basically I don't want to say shoehorning, but you're basically manipulating the data to fit your needs, and that's what spreadsheets do.
Yeah, ever since they kind of had that, had that, I was like, okay, this is 100%.
Oh yeah, it's
too much money. They added a whole other access to the game. There's, I mean, if we've seen anything from CVs, subs will definitely be in.
Yeah.
So we're very much spending money on stuff, and then they kind of need to get their money's worth out of it. So yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be there. Concerns. I'm optimistic that it'll be easier to balance than carriers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people are so like, oh man, it's gonna be so stupid, but no, I mean, it's a class that needs to put themselves in danger to do damage. Already, it's easier to balance. So, yeah, I'm interested. I'm optimistic that I keep saying that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to not have any more adjectives to describe this thing and your feelings for it because we haven't played it yet. It's not out there. We don't know the counters. We don't know how extensive the counters are going to be. We don't know how extensive the submarine's impact on the game is going to be. They could just be a useless fucking class that barely anybody plays, or it's going to be so ridiculously strong that we have to that we start. Okay, you can only have one sub a game, period.
Mm-hmm.
Where we start calling that kind of stuff.
I just hope that they make it CV versus Destroyer. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think it kills two birds with one stone. Like we theorized, because I like talking about ships. I can talk about ships for hours and hours. And it's like, what if the aircraft carrier had to pick, right? The biggest problem that people have with aircraft carriers is the rocket. So what if CVs needed to really counter submarines, and they had to pick with their rocket planes? They either had rocket planes for damage on surface ships or a type of rocket plane that affected CV or affected sub. Sorry, and that's two birds with one stone. You have a class, and then you also take pressure off from the surface ships that the CV was applying. So, you kind of knock a bunch of things out at one time. Yeah, like somebody's saying, like Kara's saying, depth charge. Maybe if you have depth charge rockets or something, or depth charge planes instead of rockets.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of things they do with this.
There's so many things that they could just add another loadout on a plane. Period. You don't buff it, or just throw the buffs on the captain skills that are already buffing everything else. Instead of what is it, RTY 1 2 3, add a 4. That's it. Simple. Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. Just add a 4, and then you're launching depth charge planes for submarines. And do you use them? I don't know. Can you drop them on surface ships? Sure, why not? You just dump a barrel of fucking oil. It makes them light on fire better, faster or something.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some things they could really do, and I think solve a lot of problems. I think they could even solve a lot of problems with subs, but if it's, again, I think it's completely dead on arrival if it's surface ships for subs. I just don't see how that's going to work.
Well, the last iteration that I heard is they added the light cruisers into destroyer hunting abilities.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like, what's a surface ship? I mean, what's the kind of a cruiser going to do? It's still going to be on the destroyer, right? So you're telling me that whatever his name is, Rommel 69420, and his Camelus Benson, that's ripple firing AP, is going to avoid radar, is going to avoid other destroyers, isn't going to sit broadside and smoke, and then avoid planes, and then have to go hunt subs.
Yeah, I think. I mean, even if you put it in light cruisers, that light cruiser is still going to go out there and get shit on too. So it's very hard, and you're pulling DDs away from the main game to go do this little mini game. Still, they're not going to cap. They're going to go hunt this thing down. And I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the idea behind it. I mean, I don't. But either way, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when it goes out there. Guys, let's move on away from subs, because we could talk about for the next 4 hours on that. Let's move up to Hindenburg got a buff.
Yeah.
Hindenburg is getting a buff.
Drops in a couple days or whatever.
Yeah, the main battery reload time was lowered from 10.5 to 9.8 seconds base. The new lowered reload time will increase the cruiser's overall combat efficiency. Now, that is 9.8 without main battery 3.
Yeah.
So with main battery 3 currently at 10.5, that's 9.2 seconds.
It's going to be good. And it's funny because
it's going to be in the 8s, man.
The buff, first of all, I don't feel like the Hindenburg even needs a buff.
No, I don't either.
I
Even
think
with the
it's
11-second, it was fine.
yeah, I think the current version of the Hindenburg's fine. You know, it might be one of those things where, first of all, side note, still no buff to the Yu Yang.
Yeah.
Still no buff to the Yu Yang. Potentially even a more of a nerf with the upgrades, which we'll probably get to in a second.
We'll have that a little bit later.
But like, I think the Hindenburg's fine right now. Like maybe it's not producing as well, but I feel like this is Wargaming's version of we have a couple problem ships. That's what they always seem to do.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have ship A, B, and C, and they're all doing really, really well. Let's buff all the other ships up to that point.
Well, that
and
is
it's
completely
like, well, we don't need
opposite of what they did with the Yu Yang.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I feel like they're trying to buff other things up to meet other things where they could just nerf one or two things, and then the Hindenburg's probably fine.
Yeah.
I
don't even think that the reload matters here. I think just the fact that the German HE is so bad. The damage.
Well, it has the quarter pin, so
that's fine that it has the quarter pin. But I'm sitting there in my rune, I'm sitting there in my Hindenburg, and I'm hitting 6-7 shots, and I'm only getting 3,000-4,000 damage. As opposed to something like that, like this is Al's hitting for hitting for 12K. You know, I mean, that's the disparity. At least that's my impression of going through the York and all these other things. I was getting really, really good amount of shell hits for minimal amount of damage, and I don't know. I think it's fine. I mean, a buff, it's going to make it even stronger than it already is. It's still a ridiculously strong boat right now at 10.5. It was really good at 11. I don't know what the difference is.
It's kind of funny though. It's full circle because it was too strong before, then they nerfed it, and
too strong compared
then
to
they
what?
buffed it. Well, back in the day, everyone was using it, so it was too strong against. That was, I think, even before the Henry came out, which the Henry kind of replaced it.
Yeah.
And so before all these ships, so they had the ship originally, they nerfed it, then they buffed it to the current version, and now they're buffing it more than the original version of the ship. Mm-hmm. So it's come basically a full circle. So
it's been a fucking yo-yo.
Technically, going to be better than what it ever.
The original was 10 seconds, and then they put it up to 11, and then they dropped it to 10.5. Now they're dropping it to 9 point whatever 8. Somebody in the chat there is saying that with the reload buff, you're gonna get down to 8 3/4 of a second, 8.75 seconds.
Yeah, and that doesn't even include adrenaline rush.
Yep, and then you get low. You're probably gonna see really low 8s and really high 7s on this thing. Can you imagine that?
That's a nasty shit, man.
It's nasty, and I don't.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're buffing it not necessarily because it's not doing the damage, but that people aren't playing it? Do you think it's a combination
I would
of both?
say that. And that's kind of what I brought up the Yu Yang. Like I imagine this is a situation where it's not very popular or it's not played that much anymore because it's to a point. It's kind of an older line. It doesn't have radar, so that doesn't make it stand out. Mm-hmm. And they're probably maybe trying to get people to throw it away, but that's what I worry about Wargaming. Wargaming's straight up said, they've even said it with CVs too, is if numbers get to a certain point, they're willing to buff things to increase popularity, which to me means that they're willing to throw away balance to get things that are played.
Well,
I really don't like that.
Of course,
I really don't like that.
They've been throwing away balance since the CVs came out, man. There is no balance with CVs in the game. There's too many. It's too many calculations and too many arms on that fucking balance wheel, man. That scale is just all over the place right now, and I think it gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah, we'll see though. I mean, it's I feel like 2019 was the year of the spamming. We had so many ships that fired so quick.
HE spams, man.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. Maybe they'll tune it back. Who knows? We have to play it. It's going to be a monster, though. It is. It's going to be even scarier than what it was, I think, beforehand. Now, do I think it's going to replace some stuff? Henry's getting its nerf. So is the Hindenburg going to come back? I mean, we could see the rise of the Hindenburg again. Who knows?
My thoughts and feelings on the Hindenburg haven't changed, period. I still think it's a nasty ship. I think
a solid ship.
Honestly, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, the fucking Zhao has never changed. and it's still a fucking beast. It was a beast back then. It's a beast now. And it's going to continue to be a monster, and people are going to sleep on it, man.
Zal's good. It's really good at what it does. You know, it's even you saw even this past rank season, kind of like a resurgence of kind of what the strength was. It's still stealth. It's the best stealthy cruiser
It's like
still.
9.9, 9.8 or something
Yeah.
like that. I can't remember exactly
So
what it is. Don't quote
it's
me on it.
really, really good at what it does, but it just doesn't hold up to the DPM that other ships can do anymore.
Now,
So
what was it, 11-second reloads, 12-second reloads, or something like that?
yeah, something like that.
No. With those guns, with that amount of guns on a boat, I still think it's fucking badass.
It's a great ship. Yeah. Great ship.
How do you think the Venzia? Well, you said you haven't played too much of it, but the Venzia falls into this category with all of these other ones. I understand that people are going like, oh, it's a different ship because you can't set fires, but the play style is exactly the same. The Hindenburg, the Henry, the Zal, the Venzia, they're all exactly the same gameplay, just done in a different direction.
Yep.
How do you think it stacks up in here? Where do you think that the Venzia stacks up in this list of 4 top tier 10 cruisers? Because let's be honest, these are the top 4 tier 10 cruisers, and they have been and they will be because of the long range and mobility.
I think the Venetia is really, really good at what it does. I think it can punish a lot of stuff. I think it's a good ship. You know, but it does what it does really well. Like it punishes destroyers like really no other, and it really kind of punishes. I mean, it was a nasty ship to deal with in rank battles, so
it's hard to kill.
Yeah, it's you know, anything that's maybe like a what am I trying to say? Like is there going to be a ton of them in like a competitive, or is there going to be a ton of them anywhere else? No, but I think what it does, it's going to do really well and continue to do really well. It's going to be great. It's going to be kind of like the Zao. It's going to be a role specific ship and really good at doing that said role.
I think for competition standpoint and ranks battles and everything, you want to be able to whittle down those damages, and I don't think that it does it efficiently enough. Simply for the fact that you're getting this big chunk of damage or a little chunk of damage plus fires. I think I'd take that little chunk of damage plus fires because you end up getting bonus damage overall. But that's why I don't think it works very well in ranked and competitive. But you know, hey, I've seen some pretty nasty players doing very well in it. So what do I know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. There's always those outliers. But all right, moving on to Montana's getting a health buff, a repair party buff. Restoration of hit point repair consumables increased from 0.5% to 0.66% of maximum hit points per second. Montana's repair party will be the same as every other U.S. battleship. Big change? Nope. Minor
Not
change?
really. I mean, it's going to get a little bit more life, a little bit more survivability.
Meh.
But nothing too massive.
Personally, I still think it's the best battleship at tier 10. It's just mobile, agile, hostile, for lack of better words. Really strong guns, and you don't get bored playing it by sitting dead still, a la the Kremlin.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not the Kremlin. When you play a Monty versus Kremlin, it feels like you're playing a tier 9 ship against a tier 10 ship. So, Monty's good. I mean, it's going to give a little bit more survivability. You know, did it make the Iowa the same buff? Did it make the Iowa the best tier 9? No. Is it going to make the Monty the best tier 10? Well, for you, apparently, it's going to stay being the best. But for me, I think it'll probably just kind of stay where it is.
Yeah. Well, in this world of how do you perceive the game, you know, your choices are different than mine, and I know everybody else out there has their opinions on them. Some people out there still think the GK is the best fucking thing for some unfucking reason. I have no idea why they think it, but whatever. To each their own. All right, moving on. That was a minor change. Here's kind of another change that initially when I read this change, I was like, well, this is dumb. And like the reasoning behind the change, which falls under the NDA channel, so I really can't give the reasons. But let's put it this way. The Kremlin AA gun mounts are getting hit points in half, right? So their AA mounts are getting their AA fucking shit. Read it. AA
you can gun, do it, I believe.
There you go. AA gun amount of hit points is halved. So all their little AA turrets, you're going to be able to knock them out even faster. That's basically what it is. Now,
Yep.
here's the description. Besides good armor and a huge number of hit points, Kremlin was very effective AA guns, which are hard to be killed, which makes the battleship well protected from planes for the whole duration of the battle. The change will make it easier for aircraft carriers to attack battleships closer to the middle of the battle with some of the AA guns are already destroyed. Big change?
Yeah, but
Minor change?
this will have no impact on the ship.
No. People are still going
It'll
to
have
play
no
it.
impact on the ship.
No.
0 negative impact.
Nope. I think, man, I wish I could say this, but the reasoning that they gave why that they did this, I think they're full of shit. In the reasonings, I can't tell you what their reasonings was, but let's just put it this way: people are going to ball up when they ball up, and people are going to push when they push, and nothing wargaming will do can change the way people play the fucking game right now, at all whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if there is no CV in the game, there's no fucking nerf. So who cares?
Well, I mean, like, if there's no CV in the game, then it's not going to do anything. Also, if there is a CV game, then you have to hope that things are spamming HE on it to break the said weak AA that it even affects. You need 2 things to happen for this quote unquote nerf to even take an effect. Like you needed this ship to basically get spammed on and then dropped on late game. I mean, you get into a late enough game. I mean, you're not getting clear skies with the Kremlin anyway. You are shooting down planes. That's a fairly high AA rating, but like, no CV, no impact.
Just like everything, you're not shooting down enough CVs to zero out damage from the carrier, because you're always going to get take damage. So is it a big deal? Nope. Is it a moot point? Sure is. It's a moot point, and nothing's going to change. Let's see. Moving on, a ship that you have a lot of love for, one that I, for some reason, cannot fucking play for the life of me. The Bliss is getting a change. It's getting several changes, and I'm gonna read this to give you my opinion, and I'll leave it to you since it's your boat of choice here for some things. Turret firing angles were increased to first turret by 10 degrees, second turret by 1 degree, fourth turret by 15 degrees. Torpedo tubes turning angles were increased by 8 degrees toward the bow and 2 degrees toward the aft. Firing the main guns and launching torpedoes will be more comfortable with new turning angles. Initially, this is not the change the Bliss needed. I think everything was fine on it. I think that if you lower the detection range, this boat gets played more, period. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just small quality of life things. I don't think this is going to drive an entire wave of people playing it. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's not going to have much of an impact. But I also feel like detection is high on it. But I mean, if they buffed it to where the Sims is, I mean, maybe is it too strong? So it's just small quality of life, but I don't see much really affecting. And those numbers, you read those numbers and you're not quite sure what they actually mean.
Right.
You're like, okay, what is 10% here, 5% there, 3% here? Like, what does that actually mean?
What
or
is 10 degrees?
Yeah. Like what does that mean? You have to kind of feel like, okay, cool, I can actually fire from this angle. So talked to a couple people. They were like, oh man, maybe if they had a heal at tier 7, but I'm like, it's probably too strong. Everybody,
that's the go-to common thing for a lot of. What does this thing need? Oh, it needs a heal. No, it doesn't necessarily need a heal. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck it needs. I can't play it for the life of me. I know it's a good boat. I've watched you fucking shit all over people in that last rank season that they had tier 7, and shit all over me at the same time.
It was a little different then, though. Those were different days.
It was stealth fire was still a deal, but the boat hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Other than the stealth.
No, it hasn't changed, but everything around it kind of has. Everything's gotten stealthier.
That's true.
You have things like the Haida that out detect you by over a kilometer now. So I mean that's the big thing. It's all about detection, but detection has hit other ships just as hard as its Bliss. The Bliss is just the highest detection at that tier. So
tier 7 there's some very good DDs at tier 7, but the cruisers at tier 7 are so much stronger and so much better than anything else at that tier. Like they outshine all the battleships, they outshine all the destroyers. They just put out so much damage and have so much potential that it doesn't matter what they do to tier 6 or to tier 7 destroyers. They're just going to be outclassed in every aspect of the game.
You're saying DDs are outclassed?
Oh yeah, DDs at tier 7 are outclassed by everything. We're talking DDs versus the cruisers versus the battleships at tier 7. Cruisers are the tip top of that tier.
They're solid. They're solid. I mean, we've had this conversation.
Yeah, we've had this conversation
I think
before.
There's plenty of good battleships.
No. I'm not saying that they're not good. Each of them have their own place in the game, but the cruisers are just so much better than everything.
There's some solid cruisers at tier 7.
Yeah. All right. So there's the Bliss. Big change, not needed. I don't think. Whatever. There's a change to the French Destroyer tier 3. Nobody cares because nobody plays this fucking tier.
I said the exact same thing.
Who cares? French Mogador tier 9. Now these next two changes, we're going to talk about the Mogador and the Kleber. Are they game changing? I don't know. Detectability ranges were increased from 9.04 to 9.5. Planes 4.3 to 4.59, so basically 4.6 kilometers. After firing the main guns in the smoke from 3.7 to 3.96, torpedo detectability range increased from 1.4 to 1.8. We'll talk about these two together. The Kleber going from 8.88 to 9.88, so they're giving a whole nother kilometer detectability. By planes, it's going up from 4.8 to 5.3. After firing main guns and smoke from 3.6 to 4.1, and then torpedo detectability range is the same 1.4 to 1.8. And there's an explanation that they had here. I want to read this. With the current detectability ranges, high-speed Mogador and Kleber can execute surprise attacks with the enemy not having enough time to react. In combination with the main advantage of French destroyers' effective main battery, these ships were too strong in comparison with other destroyers. That's their explanation.
I think they were really good at catching people off guard. You would see, especially in the tier 9 rank season, you would see people pinch corners and just absolutely obliterate a DD early.
Yeah.
But they're nasty. They're nasty DDs. You know, they're after all the concealment stuff. I mean, they're probably going to, I think it's about a half of a kilometer, maybe a little bit more, like right across the board. So it's pretty noticeable. I think they're still going to be super good. Maybe you'll see more take radio location instead. But yeah, it's still going to be good. But yeah, needed a nerf, but do they need this much? It's tough.
I don't know. They needed a nerf, maybe. I don't know. I still find them enjoyable. I think this is another line of boats that tier 9 and 10 are the only ones that you really want to play. The rest of them are kind of shit.
I actually really enjoyed the 8. I've been playing the Fantastique a lot. Yeah. Le Fantastique.
I still, and I know I've said this a bajillion times here on the podcast, I do not like gunboats that are one gun turrets. I just don't like it. It doesn't work for me. I did see a lot of them. We didn't talk about this, but that 1v1 clan battle or rank season, I did see a few of them in there, and they did pretty well from what I was seeing. But they didn't do well against me. But that's another story.
Yeah, everyone did well against everything, though.
If you really thought about it.
So yeah.
French cruiser Henry, tier 10 Henry. The time for the ship's engine to reach maximum power was increased. Acceleration parameters, while engine boost consumable as active, were changed. Due to the engine boost and high base speed, the Henry was able to dodge incoming fire quickly, changing the speed. Now the ship will accelerate and decelerate smoother. And that's all on Devlog.
It's about time. I mean, well, this is again. I mean, they're kind of going through and knocking out the French teeth one by one. But yeah, it's definitely a nerf for the Henry's maneuverability. I think is long overdue. I feel like this definitely should have been some kind of tweak they should have done in 2019. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Henry's been insane for a long time. But again, it's just like the Kleber Mogador. They needed nerfs. The Henry needed a nerf, but is this going to be too much? It's. I don't know. They didn't. Like I was talking to people about.
They didn't give any numbers. They didn't give any values here, and so how it's actually going to play out, we have to wait a little bit. But
well, somebody released numbers. It's basically like everything's almost tripled. The Montana will accelerate faster than the Henry now.
No, really.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! Even with the speed boost, that's
I
definitely gonna
I think that's just standard. I don't think with the speed boost, but
that's definitely gonna shift that boat's balance. People are gonna have to relearn how to play it. You can't just throttle jockey motherfuckers anymore, uh, like you can in say the Demonies with that legendary mod.
legendary. Well, I
And
mean, just play the Hindi now.
yeah, just play the Hindi, guys.
Yeah,
Just play the
easy,
Hindi.
easy peasy.
Nothing's changed there. All right, new captain. We got a new captain, new British guy coming in there. Andrew Cunningham is the guy's name. New commander has 3 talents. After receiving 2 cost flooding ribbons, ships and squadron maximum speeds are increased by 5%. After receiving 2 destroyed ribbons, an additional charge is added to all of your consumables. And after receiving the Witherer achievement, the reload time of the main battery and torpedo tubes, as well as aircraft restoration time, is reduced by 10%. All three talents can be activated once per battle, and he also has some skills. Jack of all trades, aircraft armor gets a buff. This is a direct CV captain, dude. There's this. After receiving the Witherer achievement, you know motherfuckers are gonna be playing this shit on the Conqueror and the goddamn Thunderer, man.
Well, I will say, I think this is the first captain that I think is really, really strong on everything.
Yeah.
Like
Flight ribbons for the
Yamamoto,
DDs.
obviously, your bonuses and whatnot, and the heal is nice. Kuznetsov obviously is his old thing, but I feel like this is the real first captain that's super kind of
Super jack of all trades.
Things, jack of all trades, yeah.
You know,
I think
this
he's solid,
guy.
solid captain.
You know, I don't know. Did you ever play any of the console version?
I
World
played
of
one
Warships?
when I went to Moscow. That was it.
Right. Their captain abilities in there are very multi-use captains. And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I think that they're trying to bring a little bit of that feel from the console into the game. They obviously they can't do the complete system change because they make too much money on doubloons on respecs and all that other shit. But you can respec your captain in that for nothing. And if you have him in a battle, you can pull him out of that battle while your boat's dead, and put him in another battle at the same time while he's in. Well, you could be in 2 battles at the same time, and you can change it as offensive, defensive, whatever you want. And this right here is all offensive oriented, I think, but except for the additional charge. But you're right. I agree. This is good everywhere. Destroyers will get the flooding. Destroyers will love the extra smoke, extra whatever. And the Witherer, you get that on just about anything except for the light cruisers.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a great captain for the new heavy cruiser.
For the new heavy cruisers, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of these new heavy cruisers?
I think they're
3,000.
203 is so dated, man.
Yeah.
It's so dated. It's all about you look at the video with Dashin and it's almost like comical.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, look at these the big HE salvos. And there's a 1900 one and a 2300 one.
I played the initial testing phase and I only played the Goliath. I didn't play any of the other ones. I only played the Goliath. Mm-hmm. And I was actually happy with it. I didn't feel like it was underpowered. I didn't feel like it was overpowered. It got damage where it needed to, and it got shit on where it needed to. I actually enjoyed it. I ended up with 150,000 damage just setting fires, which is something that I don't normally do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be all right. I think it kind of fights for the same spot as the Zhao. We'll see. We'll see over time if they find a spot. Like the Italian cruisers kind of found. I'm surprised they're doing back-to-back cruiser lines though, honestly. But
well, there's another DD line in the works. It's the Pan-European DDs.
Yeah, and they announced was it on the update today that we'll start getting those soon.
I can't wait for those. That's actually one that I'm actually excited to test. I don't care about the cruisers or battleships because they fall into 2 categories. Well, the cruisers do. You're either gonna be an island humper, smoke humper, or you're gonna be long range HE spammer, or Italian. The same thing.
Yeah.
All the cruisers fall into one of those 2 categories. Nothing has changed about those 2 categories. So I'm like, okay, I've played this before. But this DDs, Pan-European DDs, and I don't have any of the numbers up with me. Super fast torps, I'm talking like 80 something fucking knots at 15 kilometers at 9 and 10.
Yeah, they're going to be interesting. They
No
kind of did a
smoke.
big pivot. They did a big pivot from what their original plan was. So we'll see what the end product ends up being, because they kind of, the first time we saw the stuff, well, they're going to be like this, and now we're seeing a version of that is, kind of a different thing. They're stealthier now. They no longer have radar. They have this now, so we'll see. I'm a destroyer man, so
Yeah,
I'm always game for it.
I tend to lean more toward that during the rank seasons, but I'll play whatever during randoms. But
Yeah.
long range torps. When I say long range, we're talking really fast long range torps. 15 kilometers at 9 and 10, 12 at 7 and 8, and then 10 at 5 and 6. And I don't know who cares about the other ones because nobody plays the lower tiers very often. So, with some of the accelerations, and not even just the accelerations, but some of the new modules that they were talking about this week, and I don't have the modules in front of me. I'm going to try to find it real quick, though. Those torpedoes are going to go ridiculously fast. One of these new modules, the torpedo accelerator module, you're gonna have 20K Shima torpedoes that go 62 knots, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're with the torpedo accelerator mod. They go what? Now we wrote this down the other day. Thank you. We wrote this down the other day, but you're talking like 16 kilometer Shima big peeds that'll go how fast? With these
there's almost like the upgraded modules
70,
and torque
knots,
acceleration.
Man. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, you're talking about. I see kind of a weird direction we're going with the things I'm not super excited about. But yeah, you're going to start seeing some. The game is going to turn into HE spamming, torque dodge, and space battle.
You know what, dude? Just fucking bring out the goddamn Kitakame back, dude. Flat. I mean, we've got all these torpedoes spamming anyway. All right. Maneuverability system. This will be a slot 2 upgrade. The upgrade will replace propulsion mod and steering gear mod. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Torpedo tube modification 1. It's a slot 3. 20% torpedo tube turn speed, minus 40% risk of torpedoes becoming incapacitated, and 5% to ship torpedo speed. This is no negativity on these torpedoes. You don't lose. Traditionally, when you add speed, you lose range. That's what happens when you take the torpedo accelerator and the captain's skill. This is giving you a flat 5% buff to your speed, which somebody do the math real quick. 62 knots.
Is it 5% or 5 knot?
No, it's 5%.
Okay.
So it's 62 plus 5%, and it's not working. Hang on.
100 knot.
It's about 65 knots base, right? That puts it up to 65 knots base. And then you add a torpedo accelerator on that, and that's an extra 5 knots, right? So 70 knot speed, 16 kilometer Shimipedes that hit for a god tier, but they're spotted from the world, so who knows? Just think about some of the other torpedoes that you got that are super fast.
Well, the Shima torps might be getting a buff soon. You see that?
No, I didn't see that. Explain.
Or the target acquisition module.
Oh yeah, I heard that. You want to go over some of these?
20 kilometer Shima's back, man.
You want to go over some of these?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
All right. Torpedo protection system slot 5. All right. This will replace the target acquisition system mod 1. Will give the following bonuses: allows for torpedoes to be detected in fixed distance of 1.8 kilometers, regardless of torpedo detectability range. Vigilance skill will improve this. Adds 5% of ship's torpedo protection as well. So you're getting a buff. You're getting a little bit of. It says torpedo protection. Does that like damage reduction? Yeah, my wife has come back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be like less damage overall. Basically, you're gonna. I mean, imagine the Yamato and whatnot getting, an extra % or whatever. I think you'll start seeing a lot of people take that.
Imagine
because,
Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all those high.
Alabama's ridiculous with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some pretty high stuff.
Pretty high stuff. Ship's consumable mod. That's not important. Auxiliary armament mod. This is actually interesting. Slot 6, Nobody ever takes these AA gun mods and secondary battery mods too. They're usually taking concealment or something else. No, they're usually taking probably what, gun reload time, generally.
Yeah. I think that one could honestly get used because really what they want to do is they want things to not be so so they want to get people away from just taking concealment, and they want to get people away from just taking reload. They want to get people away from, just this copy pasta builds.
Right.
The AA and secondary one, I think, could get taken by a lot of people because, if you go out there and ask a lot of people,
put it out there in Massachusetts, put it out there in the Americans.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you ask a lot of people, whenever they play a battleship, right, they're going to talk about how bad concealment expert is and how bad concealment module is, and because they shoot all the time, right? So they're always detected no matter what.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, which is funny because they just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah,
but it's going to make that a lot easier to take. Targeted acquisition didn't really do much, so
right. Let's roll.
But the flat number is
yeah,
stupid.
but this is a slot 6. Target acquisition and shit's 5, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's concealment or that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the majority of it will still be better to take the main bat. But I think on maybe repubs, on GKs, on a couple other ones, even Monties for a lot of people. A lot of people play the Monty. Taking that AA and extra secondaries. How many times do you go out and see a secondary Montana, or that it's popping off at 8 kilometers or whatever it is, or a secondary Iowa?
Never.
I think a lot of people are gonna use it, man.
I don't ever see it. But
you don't?
No, I don't. I haven't seen a secondary Montana in a very long time.
I see it all the time. All of a sudden they'll start popping off at 8 kilometers or something like that, and you go, oh,
this guy. It's that guy. All right, auxiliary armament mod 1 upgrade will combine the AA gun mod and secondary battery gun 2. Upgrades will be removed from the game. 15% continuous damage on AA mounts. 15% damage per second with the explosion radius of shells fired from AA defenses. They worded that very poorly. Minus 20% secondary battery reload time. The +2 to the number of explosions produced by salvo from AA defenses while the defensive AA consumable is active. That really doesn't mean dick because the AA consumable is useless. Let's put it this way: seemingly useless. But either way, I digress.
Hopefully, as we'll see. There's some that's just like, maybe we'll take that, but there's some others.
I think for me, I'm not a big fan of the secondary boats because I don't find them very skillful. But I'll be fucking around with some of these. The auxiliary armament mod 1 for slot 6. I'll go ahead and take that for some of the faster reloading guns out there, like the Freddy. Freddy's got pretty quick reloads on the 16-inch guns. I'll be fucking around with that. See what happens. See what trying to trouble that I can get into. Nothing really of note. Is there any of these of note that you wanted to chat about?
What was it? The turret one is kind of nice to see. The turret one that you lost reload, but you gained faster turrets that no one used.
Oh
ever.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, hang on. Let me find this maneuverability.
It basically just takes away the reload.
The reload negativity.
The reload loss.
Yeah, that was a big one. So just think. Now you take that. All right, you take the turret traverse buff. Then you take expert marksman out of the tree. How awesome is the Warspite going to be to turn its guns then?
Warspite. People that don't have the legendary module on the Yamato.
Yeah.
Even with legendary module, you don't need Yamamoto anymore.
What is that? What slot is that? I don't even see it here.
The second or third. It's the one that you would give up aiming system.
It's third slot then. Because aiming system's third slot. If you have legendary mod, where's the legendary mod on the Yamato go to?
That is you lose reload. I think it's slot 5.
Slot 5 or 6. 5 is the.
6. Sorry.
Yeah, so slot 6. So take the legendary mod. You don't have to take the aiming mod anymore. Then you take this new mod here, and you don't lose any time. You gain really fast turrets, and you expert marksman in the deal even with Yamato. Holy shit! Them gun turns are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, they're going to be fast. A lot of ships that have slow turrets are, throw that on a Gremmy, throw that on some Russian
God,
destroyers. Even think about that, man. You know,
that maybe it'll make that Russian
the
diva line.
Anshan, you know, all those things have
Tier six is
super
rough.
slow
The
turrets.
Jenny at 6, and the Minsk at 7. The Leningrad. I mean, there's some potential for not just battleships on here.
Oh yeah, for
but
sure.
but definitely, I kind of like it. I mean, it's a good idea. Takes away
Yeah, I
the
mean,
negative of something that people really don't use.
yeah, really, like the only times you'd honestly use it were some people would use it on the York. Back in the day, they'd use it on the York.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much now, but because it got kind of a buff. But yeah, that'd be like really the only ship you trade on because you want to be throwing out as many shells as you can. So losing reload on anything sucks.
Well, in this world of DPM, which I think people put a little bit too much on DPM, but in this world of DPM, this is your you don't want to have that negative hit for 5% of your 5% of your reload time or 5-second
Yeah.
reload times because that make or break things. I don't
Oh,
care
for
if
sure.
this guy can hit you for 1,000 and you can hit him for 3,000, but he gets to fire 7 shots before you get to fire 2. You're probably going to lose
Yep.
that fight. Not to mention you have to fight with dispersion and all this other stuff. Guys, we're hanging out with my man MEjash, twitch.tv/MEjash, or over at MEjash TV over on the Twitter, and then youtube.com/MEjash. There
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go. Of course, I am sirvenomik. You guys can hit me up at sir_venom_ik over on the Twitter, or you guys, well, y'all are here in the channel, but it's twitch.tv/sirvenomik for you boys over on the beautiful YouTubes for later on. 203 Mogami with that thing would be fucking nasty too. Does that make it viable? The 203 Mogami is ridiculously strong, by the way. If nobody's ever tried it, I recommend going out there and playing a few games with the 203s. They trolled me. The chat trolled me one time. They were like, "Okay, guys, let's total request live. Pick the ship that I'm going to play." And they were like, "Play the 203 Mogami." And I was like, "Okay." Got out there, first volley of the game, broadside field, did 12,000 damage to somebody. I was like, "Holy shit! Where the fuck did this come from?"
It's good. It's definitely good. I went through for my Road to Tier 10 series. That's why I really like doing that. It's been kind of like it's been so long since I've played like certain ships, so it's been fun that way. But as for the Mogami, I still found that even without a inertia fuse, I still found that 155 was better
Yeah.
than 203s. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna help. It's gonna
Yeah.
help all that. I would.
No, absolutely. Well, that was one of the things that people shied away from the 203s for a long time is because they were just so slow to turn. They were good, but man, God, you couldn't get them to turn around to do any damage. But definitely brings in makes some boats relevant that were kind of irrelevant, or at least specific areas of ships that were irrelevant, more relevant.
Well, I just think it makes a module that no one used become a module that's usable. I think that's a big thing. You know, you're not going to whatever. So guys, I'm all for it, man. That was one I was excited to see.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that one too. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, at sirvenomik right here in the chat, and we don't have too many of them so far, but we still have a little bit to go. You guys can get some questions in at MEjash or Winston if you want to ask Winston a question. Type it into the chat and I'll copy paste it over. All right, let's move on to the next.
Till he wakes up.
Let's move on to something new. Now this is new gameplay. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's new gameplay. It's just we're getting to the point. I think the game is getting to the point. What's your opinion on this, Josh? Do you think that they are running out of shit to do in this game? So they're just kind of turned everything to 11. And I'll cite some examples. Smolensk. It's not new gameplay. It's not new gameplay by any means. Smolensk, Covert, that's just basically in Atlanta, Kudasov, but they've kind of upped the ante a little bit. And they've pushed it just out of the reaches of fucking fair, out of the reaches of balanced, and just like let's just throw as much shit as we can, call it new gameplay, and people won't know any wiser.
Well, I think it's. I've talked about this a lot. I mean, they're I'm not saying this game is a simulator, so let's just get that
Right.
that straight. But I'm saying that they are kind of held down with the normal game modes by reality to a point, right? Like
A little bit.
it's a World War II game. You're not going to have ships that are going to become immune. You're not going to have ships that are going to teleport. You're not going to have, they're kind of held down by a semi-reality. So,
Why
we've
not?
seen a
Let's get
pattern
a
for a
cloaking
long
device.
time. Yeah,
Where's
we've
my
seen all
cloaking
that
device?
in the other modes.
We were talking about this on several podcasts ago, like one of the first earlier podcasts, of things that we think that are coming. You're gonna have battle royale style shit. Guess what? We had a fucking battle royale, which was amazing, by the way. Those torpedo rogue wave event, I really enjoyed that event, by the way. You're gonna have buffs out on the deal. Look, I'm gonna get a heal buff. Look, I'm gonna get a buff. We got a fucking arms race. I think. Anyway, continue. I don't know where I was going with that.
But no, it's all good. It was a good attempt. But I think they're held down in reality. So what we're seeing right now is just power creep everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well what we have is we have something that's here, and we're going to create something that is basically that, but it shoots faster, or basically that, but it's stealthier. That we have versions of this, but it's going to do this or this with radar. So what does that create? Creates a never-ending power creep, So, and then we kind of get lines that probably are unique and fairly balanced, kind of like a lot of the Italian ships that bring something unique, but it's it's not as good as what is considered the best. So it kind of gets forgotten in a way. So they're kind of doing a lot of it's like this, but it's a little bit different. It's like this, but a little bit different. There's only going to be able to do so much. So what I hope that ends up doing is I hope all of this over time, them running out of stuff, they make different game modes where they can get away from being held down by reality, basically. We get more into maybe a more sci-fi game mode where they can actually have invulnerability. They can have battle royale style stuff, and they can kind of break away from the mold of the game. I would love for them to make other game modes. I'm always pushing for that.
Yeah, we've had that conversation on several occasions in Discords and just on the podcasts and, as well. I think that they have an idea with arms race, which has a lot of merit, and it's something completely different than what we're normally used to. They introduced Epicenter to moderate success. I say moderate success because people hate it. There's a lot of people out there that hate it. I love it. First of all, I want to put it out there. I love that game mode, and the reason I love it is because it gets people out of their fucking comfort zones. They have to play the objective, and they cannot just camp and farm damage. And if you do that, well, then you're probably going to fucking lose. This is the reason majority of the people do not like epicenters, because they can't sit in camp. And I don't know. What do you think of Epicenter before we move on to arms race?
I think Epicenter is a good low tier map because it gets people to move.
I mean, trainer, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a good training mode. I don't really like it in high tiers because people in high tiers are afraid to take damage, and no matter what their ship is, so it just allows for like a couple bad players to be. If you have a 2DD game and you have two bad destroyers, basically you're going to lose almost every one of your epicenter. So
right.
I think it's a good low tier map, but I mean that's why I liked Arms Race so much. Like Arms Race made you be aggressive.
Yeah,
if you
forced
weren't
you to push.
Aggressive, sat around, you literally got a disadvantage the longer the game went, because the red team would get more buffs, red team would get faster reload, the red team would
planes
get more
will get
heals,
they'll get faster,
anything.
They'll reload faster.
So I like other game modes that promote movement and maybe are I like that kind of stuff. So I think Epicenter is a good training game mode. I don't particularly like it at high tiers. I'm a DD player, so I don't really mind it. But I'm always just give me more game modes. Let's get more. Let's get something that's exciting.
Let's see if they can actually attempt to fix Bastion mode, because they just threw that away. They put it out there. Okay, guys, it's live, and then they just threw it away. And they didn't even try. They didn't even attempt to fix it. They were just like, nope, this is fucked.
Yeah, I think Bastion was kind of fucked when you kind of had
you spawn in as a GK and immediately you're getting shot at, or immediately you're spotted by the enemy team.
when the turrets are getting Krakens each game, I think you might have a problem there.
Yeah.
But I think they could do some type of mode with Bastion, maybe not so much of doing damage, but maybe like a pulsing radar or
The little
a
blip radar, you know, where
something. Yeah.
this is something that we discussed when, okay, guys, we need, what's the problems with radar and how do you fix it? And it goes too far and it lasts too long on some boats. So why don't you make it a blip? Every time, you know, how radar works is it goes in a circle, right? Bloop, bloop,
Mhm.
bloop. Have that effect on your mini map for anybody that's not the radar ship. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And then every 5 or 6 seconds, you know, it comes back around. You spot it for a good 10, 15 seconds, and then it goes away, or something like that. I mean, something pulsating radar. This is what we're talking about. That was an idea we had as well. I mean, it has merit, but if you do that, then your radar has to last even longer to make it effective. So,
Mhm. Absolutely.
Epicenter, I think, has merit. I think it's a good game mode. I just wish I'd see it on all of the maps or more maps. I think the maps that they have it on, they're fine for it, but I think put it on fucking Ocean. Bring Ocean. Put Ocean back into the deal. Put Ocean back into regular rotation that before it was. Before they pulled it out of the rotation, you only get it once every couple of months.
Mhm.
I think that Ocean needs to come back again. And people are like, "Oh, I hate Ocean. I hate Ocean." Well, tough shit. You only got to play it for 20 minutes to move on to the next fucking map. You know.
My first game in the summers was on
Really?
after I bought it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet you
So
had fun.
that was a nice one.
My
Yeah.
my best game in my Atlanta was on Ocean.
One of my best games, not my best, but one of my best games on my main account with the Wooster was on Ocean.
Oh man, it was so much fun.
You know where I'd love to see
Map
map
has
wise though
potential, man. What's up?
is 1v1. We got those smaller version of high tier maps. I would
Yeah.
love to see those on as low tier map.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a really good idea.
It
You
was my
take
idea.
the
That's why it's so good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to make
Yeah.
sure I give credit to the right place, right?
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right,
so
there
much.
you go. Thank you, Josh, for that. That's a really good fucking idea. Take it now. You want it 12v12 on that with this with like tier 1, 2, and 3s.
Yeah, because I mean, even a shrunken large map. I mean, what some of the low tier maps are 25 by 25.
Yeah,
I mean, and the big ones are what 40 by 40, 50 by 50, whatever they
something
are.
like that.
So
Yeah.
those shrunken maps are probably the size of low tier maps.
Yeah. I
So
I think it has merit. Not only does that have merit, but it's going to go a long way to teach people more. Look, you have this little section of this map that you're able to actually play on. It's just a shrunk down version of the main map. Now you have an idea of what you can get your shots over, what you can go around. Now we have a triple cap on this thing, or double caps, or whatever it is. Now we know how to adjust and play into this map. So it's not like a fucking night and day when you go from tier 6 to tier 9, and you're playing maps that you haven't seen before. Now you're having to relearn the game completely again. You have an idea of what you're getting into. I think it's a fucking fantastic idea.
heck yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, man. Also, in this world of wargaming, doing very minimal work and calling it brand new, how much work do they have to do on this? Exactly what Zalancho down there says. It's more maps with less effort. You know, hey guys, we're adding new maps for the lower tiers. Look at what we did. We did nothing, and it's like it's so easy to do. Copy pasta Fletcher class ship. Okay, here you go. Call it.
Well, I
Call
mean,
it something else.
regardless if it's a lot of work for them, like it just adds variety and it is a way to teach your player base how certain like that's the hardest thing about any game that has maps, right? First person shooters, arcade games, whatever you want to call World of Warships. You know, like learning the flow. That is one of the biggest things that was turned me away from tanks is I got to the point where I was okay. I understood how the guns work. I understood how the ammo works. I started to get that, but I didn't want to put in the time to like start learning the maps because maps are gonna have certain flows here. So
That's fair.
I think for ships, it would you get a bigger version of it. Okay, well that makes sense. Maybe this opens up. Okay, ships are gonna start going this way. So then you get a player base that maybe starts to understand things a little bit more. And like giving any kind of info to new players about how things work, especially getting into ships that hit heavier and heavier and harder, have more life, isn't a bad thing in any way. So
it's not a bad thing. It's also something that they don't want to take the time to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier just to throw them in there, right?
Yeah.
Players that play poorly are players that spend more money. So
yeah. Well, if I get this shit, maybe I'll be better. Well, if I get that shit, maybe I'll be. This guy said it was a badass boat, and I'm terrible at it. This guy's a liar. But that's something that we've both based our streams off of lately. I mean, like I started out originally, and I think you came to it later, but of educating and trying to help people change their mentality of why are you doing this? I understand that you have this boat and you want to make it work, but why did you go around that corner with 6 people sitting right there in front of you? Why did you pop your smoke in that cap when you weren't spotted? Why, there's some things that I ask people, like, why did you do that? And I'm not trying to bitch at the people. I'm just like, I want to understand your thought process, so maybe we can change it. So maybe you'll see the game a little bit different. And I think that you do a very good job at that as well. So,
thanks, man.
Give credit. All right, let's move into something new-ish. All right, Yamashima or Yashima. It's Yashima, but I'm going to call it Yamashima because I don't know how to speak. 97,200 hit points, plating at 32 millimeters. Main batteries 3x2, 510 millimeters. Holy fuck, these things are huge. Now, I do remember them saying several years back that we wouldn't have anything bigger than 460s. But they said, fuck that. We're not even having subs either, so we're going to do whatever the fuck we want to. Forget what we said in the past. Firing range at 26.6 kilometer, dispersion at 272, Sigma at 210, or 2.1. HE shell damage 81,000 with a 40% HE velocity. Velocity at 720. That's meters per second, by the way. AP shell damage at 19,400. AP initial shell velocity at 720. Reload time 35 seconds. Fuck, that's long. This thing's going to get burned down so fast, though. 180-degree turn time is 60 seconds. 1 full minute to get those fucking turrets to turn. Secondary armament, 7 kilometers.
Not anymore.
Well,
not with the turret's going to turn 15% faster.
This guy screams for Yamamoto. Secondary armament, 2x3, 155s at 7 kilometers. HE shell damage, 2,600. Chance to cost fires, 10. Initial velocity of 925 meters per second on these secondaries, man. 10x2, 100 millimeter range, 7 kilometers. HE shell damage, 1,700. Caused by fire, 6%. And HE shell velocity of 1,000 meters per second. Some of the fastest guns in the game, right there on secondaries. AA defenses, who gives a shit? You're not going to shoot enough down. Anyway, actually, let's read this because didn't this say this would be a better AA?
Yeah, has modern AA.
Modernized AA defense. So let's read this. AA defense, 24x2, 40 millimeter, 16x3, 25 millimeter, 10x2, 100 millimeter. AA defense short range AA is 102 hit probability, 85%. Action time 0.1 to 2.5 kilometers. Mid-range is 438. Hit probability 75%. Action zone 0.1 to 3.5. Long range. The long range number of explosions in a salvo is 10. Damage with an explosion is 1,540. Continuous damage per second at 235. Hit probability of 75%. Action zone 5.8 kilometers max. Number of explosions, salvo 10. Damage with explosions 1540. They repeated it twice in their own post, so I read it twice. Either way. Maximum speed 27 knots. It's not slow, but it's relatively slow for a big boat like this. Mm-hmm. Turning circle radius 900 meters. Rudder shift time 18.7 seconds. Surface detectability is 18 kilometers. Air detectability is 12.8. Detectability after firing guns and smoke is 20.9. And it comes with damage control party, repair party, fighter, or spotting aircraft. Holy shit, that's a lot of information to dump. But
basically, it's just the Yamato with better AA. That has bigger gun.
Yeah, better AA and bigger guns.
Yeah,
it's gonna play the same. Sit longer range, bow in.
Bigger shells, right? Apparently, with inertia fuse, the HE gets like 110 millimeters a pen. So, I'm I'm worried because as I just saw somebody say in chat that like, well, this is obviously going to start a wave of really, really big caliber shells, right?
Right.
USN had some,
Well, we've
or at
seen it.
least thought about it. German as well.
We've seen them go to the bigger guns, starting with the Georgia, the Ohio. We're starting to see these. The Thunderer has already shifted, but we've always had that Thunderer big guns. That was just on the big gun Conqueror that nobody fucking played. And now,
Mhm.
you know what's funny, Josh, is that people were like, "Oh, the big gun Conqueror, ha ha ha, what a scrub!" Now they're loving the Thunderer, and I'm like, isn't it the same fucking thing? Well, it's pretty
Yeah, it's a
close
little
to it, at
different,
least. Yeah,
but yeah.
pretty close to it. Uh, does this foresee the big H class? You know, the 510s on the GK.
I mean, like,
Potential for it if this is a success.
I mean, I think it absolutely is. I mean, if one nation can have it, why not the others? I mean, it's
I'm.
free ships for
I'll
ships
be
to
honest
make,
with you.
and
I'll be honest with you, man. I'm really surprised this is not a Russian ship first. I'm honestly surprised this is not a Russian ship first because everything that they've done for the Russians lately have been absolutely the most overpowered broken shit for a while. Smolensk is
well,
out there. It's most perceived as the most overpowered. I don't think Smolensk is overpowered by any means, but Stalingrad was perceived as overpowered for a long time. Kebab and Grozovoy are fucking nasty, and then the Kremlin, which arguably a lot of people think is the best tier 10 battleship out there. And it's just like we are Russians. Let's make our shit good, and let's just kind of filter everything down, and we are the tip to the top. At least
my
that's the
biggest
impression
fear
I
about
get.
these large caliber shells
Yeah.
is that I think you use like the Georgia as example, Thunder an example. I think a better example is stuff like the Mutsu and stuff like the West Virginia at low tiers. You start getting these ships that almost for their tier, the shells start to get too big.
Hmm.
And what ends up happening with those ships is they're not super good against a lot of light armored targets. You tend to get a lot of overpens.
People don't play 'em.
But they're really good against armored targets, which is good. However, though, as I said just a little bit ago, you get into a situation where you get a caliber that's so big, and with inertia fuse, um, you have these large caliber shells getting huge pens of HE having a pen of 100 and with inertia fuse 110 millimeters. So, do you start to get a entire new generation of battleships that their caliber is so big? So you think, of course, I'm going to shoot AP, I'm going to shit on everything, but really, they become HE spammers because you can start getting HE citadels on stuff. So that's my fear with these big guns is you get to a point where the
It's not
caliber and how
efficient
game
to.
mechanics work,
Yeah, yeah,
they
exactly.
become HE spammers.
Yeah, you get to the point where it's not efficient to fire AP anymore. And this is
Yeah.
also something that we said a long time ago. AP does too much damage to a lot of things, so they've nerfed it. They've kind of changed the way the game works to kind of get away from using AP. I think this is another thing. Will they ever remove AP? Who knows? Who knows?
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will. But AP was too strong against destroyers, so they netted that in half. Well, guess what? Now the battleships are shooting HE. Well, that's a little bit too strong too. So now they just remove battleships from the game entirely. And then they go now their cruisers are out there. Oh man, their HE is terrible. So now every cruiser is a goddamn British light cruiser slinging nothing but AP at each other. Well, that's doing too much to my destroyer. So then they remove cruisers. And then it's a bunch of fucking idiots out there running around in DDs with nothing to do because they bitched and moaned and changed the game too much. So at what point do they stop? At what point do they stop making these changes? I don't think they can, because if they stop making changes or stop adding new, quote unquote, new types of gameplay, the game dies.
Yeah.
And I think that them throwing a whole lot of effort and a whole lot of resources into new ships, they need to take about just a quarter of that and throw it into what we were talking about previously, new game modes.
Yeah, I think that's really like kind of the future. I think they just eventually run out of stuff. So, I think they have to keep moving to keep the game relevant and keep things fresh and keep attracting people. Because if it gets too stagnant, there's that. But Potato Quality was in the stream, and he brought up a really good point, and it's something I agree with too.
Right.
Is I don't care about these big caliber shells. I don't care about all this kind of stuff as long as it's balanced, right? as long as it makes sense. There's a trade-off. I mean, these two these double cannon, there's only 6 of them. This might not even beat this might not even beat a Yamato in 1v1. You know, it doesn't, the math like kind of works out that it doesn't really help anything on like over matches, I think with the AP or something like that. I forgot exactly the math.
Right.
But like it doesn't really give it anything else. So cheek for cheek, Yamato versus Imashi. What's it called again?
Yeah, Yashima,
So,
maybe.
but like regardless, does Yamato just beat that 1v1 still? Like this ship could come into the game and just be not very good, but it's it's IGN, so the weebs are happy, and it's a big bad battleship, so it's cool for a lot of people, and it's a big gun and it sounds loud and everyone's happy. It could just come to the game and not be very good.
Here's the deal. Cheek to cheek, I'll tell you right now, cheek to cheek, Yamato beats this hands down. Because I've got 9 shells at 460s to throw into your cheek, and you only have 4.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going cheek to cheek, this is why 2-gun turret battleships are just not that great in this game. Because as this world of DPM, you got to go with the numbers, and you got to go with more margin for error. There's definitely a less margin for error. We see it in the Ganaizanu, we see it in the Bismarck, we see it in the Freddy, we see it in the Georgia at times, and the Ohio, at how unreliable your accuracy is. When you need the damage, is it going to be there when you absolutely have to have it to knock somebody's dick in the dirt?
Mm-hmm.
More often than not, it's not there for me. I don't know. Some people have other opinions on them, but more often than not, the damage is not there, or not the damage, the accuracy is not there with the 4 guns or 2-gun turrets instead of 3.
It's already hard enough to get full pens on a Smolensk. I don't think bigger shells are going to do anything about that. So we'll see. It's something we're going to need to play. It has, I think, the slowest reload out of any tier 10 battleship. It
35
makes sense.
seconds.
Shells are.
Huge.
The shells are huge. Yeah, you're going to get down a little bit lower with the reload module, which the Yamato most likely won't have because of taking the legendary mods. So the Yamato will still be a little bit faster, but they're big shells. That's cool. But this is one of the things that I need to play. You get to a point, especially shells, I'm going to want 9 over 6 in most situations with the Yamato compared to this.
Absolutely.
So we shall see. This is one I need to play.
This is definitely one. Am I excited about these changes? No, not really. I look at this boat, and all I see is the Ganaizanu and the pain and suffering that I suffered trying to play through this thing on the regrinds, having 150,000 damage, but feel like you did nothing because you got your damage off of torps, or you didn't get your damage from the main guns. I have a feeling that this is going to fall into that same category for me.
To be fair, the Sigma's a little bit higher on the Yashashima or whatever it is. Shomo.
A new European. Let's go to the chat here. Chat, what do you guys think of the Yashima 510s and your thoughts and feelings? Put them in there at sirvenomik, and we'll get to those coming up here in a little while. New European destroyer, the Orkan Tier 8 Premium. This is 120 millimeter guns, 15,700 hit points, 1750 on the HE shell damage, 2250 on the APs, 9%, slowish guns, 774. Reload 4.5 seconds, torpedo tubes 1x4, 76 knots at 12 kilometer range. That's pretty fast fucking torp. 76 for 12, yeah. Torpedo detectability is 1.6. Reload time is 70 seconds. Really fast reloads, too. A minute and 10. Some AA. Let's see. Let's look at these AA damages. 70%. This is really bad AA. So short range AA is 70. Hit probability of 95. 2 kilometers. That's short range. Mid range is 2.5 kilometers at 35 damage. 5.2 kilometers at 35 damage. Comes with surveillance radar, repair party, engine boost, damage control, but no smoke. So here's something, man. Destroyers are already shit on by carriers. So why not, if you're gonna give them no smoke, why not buff the AA defense so they can defend themselves a little bit?
Yeah, I mean it's destroyer AA, so lol. I mean, it doesn't really do anything. Um, I mean, even high A ships, even like the Kid, isn't really like blasting that many planes out of the sky these days. So,
Are
uh,
you do you come from the same kind of camp I do when it comes to AA? It just AA is just not good enough. Now, I was reading through some of the discords. Little White Mouse was putting out there, and she was talking about the numbers. The numbers are there for AA, but they're just not enough visual affectations, so it doesn't feel like it's doing anything. But you're actually doing a lot. But then I go play a game. I have 30,000 plane damage, only 2 kills. I'm just like, there's no consistency with it.
well, it's because like how you do damage and damage done affects the squadron. So think about what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Is let's say it's a squadron of 9 ships, or a squadron of 9 planes, sorry, and it's a 3 plane drop. So there's 3 sets of 3, right? So you don't get the feeling like you used to of having an impact on that squadron because when the came in, let's say it used to be a squadron of 3 planes. When you shot down a plane, that only had 2 planes left. When you shot down 2 planes, it had 1 plane left. When it's a squadron of 9 and you shoot down 1 plane, it's still going to drop 3.
It's still
You
it's
shoot
still
down
got
2 planes, you're
planes
still
left.
going to drop 3. You shoot down 3, it's still dropping. Because you don't have an impact on that, and a lot of your AA is hitting the planes that have already dropped. A lot of your planes are hitting the fighter planes that they're dropping. So yeah, you feel like you don't have an impact on the game. It's because it's always loading up at least the max drop. So you don't have an impact on it. I think the AA system AA rework was a complete failure. It
I
feels
tend to
awful.
agree. Now,
It's absolutely awful.
I'm not sitting there talking like we should shit all over the planes, but I just don't feel like I'm getting rewarded for the amount of AA I'm actually doing. I've had
Yeah.
planes sit in my fucking AA bubble, not in the no flight. I don't understand that there is a null zone just above your ship that you cannot do AA damage. But I'm talking the guy goes out and I'm flinging it out there. I put my AA button on. I hit my sectoring. And he stays in that. I shoot down 1 plane on the way in. He drops. He hits me. He goes out and stays in 4 or 5 kilometers to turn his planes around. And I shoot down nothing.
Hmm.
My AA sectoring comes back up. I hit it again, and I don't do anything. So I think that there's a giant either A, misinformation, or B, there's just not enough feedback, or I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's right. You're shooting down one thing, but guess what? You're still going to, as a CV, you're going to have maximum drops as long as you have enough planes.
Yeah, pretty much. But arms race, hey, they'll get more planes
Yeah,
faster.
that's right. Arms race is going to be great. Arms race is going to be great. All right, moving on. This is kind of an interesting boat. I don't know if I like this boat at all, but Japanese destroyer Arashi, tier 8, another weeb boat, 13,000 at tier 8. It's pretty low. You have main battery, 3x1 150s, 11-kilometer range. So this is basically a gunboat because this thing, 3 guns. I'm sorry, but that's just stupid, especially in this day and age with the British DDs, the French DDs. This thing's not going to be able to fight off a fucking thing. I don't care if you have 150s.
Oh yeah, you see how low the damage is? It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
2,500 HE damage, 3,900 AP damage. Shell velocity is at 875 meters per second, 11% fire chance. 180-degree turn time on your fucking guns. This is stupid. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And like, if you're going to do this, you're not going to be able to fight anybody. So what are you limited to? You're limited to 2x4, 610 millimeter maximum damage, torpedoes of 20,967. Pretty high damage torps. They go 10 kilometers at 67 knots. That's dumb.
Yeah, I
Tor-
mean it's an IJN torpo.
1.7 kilometer on the detectability, 112 reload seconds, launcher 7.2 second, 180-degree turn time on the launchers. This thing is just a terrible idea. I'm sorry,
But
but
remember, it's going to be 1.8 kilometers in a little bit because of that
maximum, yeah,
module. So
yeah.
no, I mean it's funny. It has the same, I think, the same gun setup of. It's a weird kind of Frankenstein
It's a
destroyer.
Harikaze.
Yeah, it's
They
the
have
Hirakaze
the
like
yeah,
B hull.
something like that.
So you have basically a Kagero. that has German guns with the 150s with the Harikaze setup of 3 turrets, and you have an awkward hydro that's 3.5 kilometers, so it's not quite Royal Navy. And so you kind of have this Frankenstein of a ship that really still can't defend itself against other ships. It can't really do much. And then one thing I thought that would be kind of cool is it has Hydro, which is the first time an IGN destroyer has ever had Hydro.
This is true. All right, let's read this. Hydroacoustic duration time is 100 seconds.
Wasn't done.
I'm sorry. Go for it.
Wasn't done.
Go for it.
Okay. But no, I thought it'd be so cool if it had an extremely like an extremely short radar. Like a 15-second radar, because you have shitty guns, so you're not really going to do that much, right?
Right.
But like, what if it had like a 15-second radar? That would be the first time you'd have kind of an IGN torp focused destroyer that could kind of scare off something that's chasing it.
Right.
Yeah, that's something I think would be really cool. Give it a 10-second radar. Give it something very small. Hydro, I just don't really see what that does. I mean, are they finally accepting the fact that IGN destroyers just sit broadside in smoke that much? I mean, are they finally saying, hey, we gotta give the like, we gotta let these guys have something that'll help them not eat so many dicks in the smoke. So it's just like let's give them sonar. So
it's easy.
I would like more
visual,
like a radar thing.
A visual aid on the screen. Don't sit broadside in smoke. Just pops up when your smoke is there. Check this out. So Hydro torpedo detection at 3.5. Ship detection is 5 kilometers. That's a 5-kilometer Hydro. It's not terrible.
Yeah, so
reload time 180 seconds, and you get 2 charges, 3 if you have a superintendent. 100 or premium charges, you get 2 out of 3. So, it's
an IGN torp.
It's an IGN torp boat. I mean, like you understand what they've done with the IJN releases lately? I mean, you've seen these releases. You know, they put out, what's the tier 7 one that they put out? Who knows? Nobody fucking plays it.
Yeah, the Udachi.
Yeah, the Udachi. It's such a boat. I mean, the Yahagi's
It's
terrible.
the poi boat, though, dude.
Now, true, it's the poi boat, but it's such a terrible boat that needed some work, and they didn't do it. And then you have Hayate is on its way out eventually. They said for free XP, by the way. Or at least that's what the vote was free XP. 1 million. That's what I'm saying for tier 10 destroyer. 1 million.
I say it's higher.
Think it's
like
higher than
1.25, 1.5.
All right, that's fair enough. But they're really going the opposite direction with these boats. They go one direction with the Pan-Europeans going with torpedoes. They're better torpedo boats now, even though the damage on those torpedoes are not as good. They've gone gunboat side with them, and I don't know where this one fucking falls in, man. This one's like the black sheep. I don't understand the reasoning behind this thing.
It's offering, like, it's offering an alternative. It's a torp boat, man. It's the most popular destroyer style of play in the entire game. So, it'll sell.
It's offering.
People will like it. People don't use guns anyway. They should just release torp boats that don't even have guns, and it'd be just as popular.
You're talking Rogue Wave event now.
There you go, man.
There you go. Just you know what, man? I want that to come back soon. That was a lot of fun. Offering 3 guns. Let's see. Overall, I'm not too excited about that. I will play it just to troll. I mean, like, I play the fucking Asaccio just to troll and roll in there at my 5.4 kilometer detection and shoot at people. That people are like, oh, this guy doesn't shoot. He sits at 20 kilometers and spams speeds. Because people still do that. I never understood that, Josh, why people with 5.4 kilometer detectability go off and spam their fucking torps and never shoot their guns, man.
Because they don't want to get radared, dude.
Yeah.
Duh.
I bait that. Well, it just goes to show you how average I am compared to other people. German cruiser. It's a super cruiser here. The Aegir. I don't know how to say it. It's got one of them omelets on top of it. So it's a auger. I don't know. Fuck it. Who cares? Big cruiser with the same hull as a Siegfried, armed with 9 305s. She is especially efficient in fighting in close and medium ranges due to her torpedo armament and secondary guns with improved accuracy and relatively quick reload. Uncharacteristically strong for the class. Hit points 62,850, 27 millimeter plating, 3x3 305s, firing range at 18.5 kilometers base. It's a long range, dude. Motherfuckers ain't going to push in this thing. Not with, not with the 27 millimeter plating.
Yeah. But it's one of the things was like, oh, is this a Siegfried is it replacing the Siegfried? Is it basically what this is, it's the Siegfried, which was the battle cruiser we tested about 6 months ago now, I guess. Yeah. It's that combined with the Odin, but we were told that this is still an independent ship from those two ships. But 1, it's German, it's going to be extremely popular. 2, it has torps, it's going to be extremely popular. 3, it has secondaries with torps, it's going to be extremely popular.
Yeah.
I think
3, I'm not going to like it. I hated the Siegfried. I thought the Siegfried was a piece of shit with 15-inch guns on it.
I like the Odin. I didn't like the Siegfried.
I thought the Odin was fine.
Yeah. So it has some tough competition at tier 9. And with only having 27 millimeter plating. However, we're just hearing about it today, so obviously it could get boosted. We've seen other things get thicker plating.
Right.
It could be very tanky. It could be very, very tanky going forward. But 27 millimeter plating, turtleback armor, if it can survive that, it could be a nasty pusher for late game. But you kind of get into an awkward spot of if its entire thing is getting aggressive, it needs to be really, really, really good at that. And if it can't survive pushing and getting really aggressive, it's going to kind of not be the best. But regardless, it's German, torpedoes, secondaries, relatively fast reload. It'll be extreme.
It'll be definitely popular. Again, anemic HE shells, 3,600 damage per HE shell, 27% chance to fires, 865 on the meters per second. Same with the AP, 9,400 damage on the AP. And it's 305, so it's about average, I guess. Torpedo tubes, 2x4s. So you get 4, 1 on each side, or I'm assuming it's 1 on each side. It doesn't say. Maximum damage 13,700, relatively small. 6 kilometers, 65 knots. Pretty standard torpedo for the Germans. Secondary armament 9x2, 128 millimeter secondary guns. These are your destroyer guns, basically. 7.6 kilometers. Maximum HE shell damage 1,500, 5%, and 900 meters per second fire chance and speed. AA. It's a decent AA. Short range AA, 119. Medium, 340, 364, 130. On the long range, you got 2 kilometers, 4 kilometers, and 6 kilometers, respectively. 6 of the AP, 6 explosions. Maximum speed's 33 knots. It's relatively quick for a big, heavy cruiser like that. I know the Puerto Rico can get up to 35 knots.
Yeah.
Going with the speed flag. So this will be somewhere close to it with a speed flag. Surface detectability 15.1 kilometers. I hate seeing that because that kind of limits your push anyway. Air detectability.
It's still base though. Yeah. Still base.
Detectability after firing main guns and smoke is 11.7. Comes with damage control party, a hydro, which is 6 kilometers, 4 for torps and 6 for boats. Repair party and a repair party. So it comes with a heel and a hydro, and that's it. No extended range planes or fighters.
Yep, we'll see. Again, something you kind of need to play to really get a feel of. So I'm excited to play it. I had a lot of fun playing the. I didn't have that much fun playing the Siegfried as you did too.
No, I did not either.
But I did have a lot of fun playing the Odin. So this is a mix of those two. So we'll see how it goes. But still, people are asking Odin when, Siegfried when.
No,
we do not know. Later than now.
No. So
all right, call your shot right now. Call your shot right now. What's it going to be sold for?
Tier 9. Let's see. Alaska, Nazuma, and Kronstadt were all free XP. I'm saying this is a free XP boat.
I say this one is coal and then sold later.
You think so? Do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's German, man. They'd be so stupid to not ever sell German ships.
Dude, the German ships are so fucking popular, and I have no idea why.
It's
you know what? I tell you what. I know exactly why. Because all these people out there, the Tirpitz, arguably it's a pretty decent boat, I guess. Not lately, but Scharnhorst. It was decent, not so much now. They just want to see all these fucking. I'm doing absolutely nothing, but goddamn it, I got a fucking fireworks show going. That's the only reason why people do
Hell
it.
yeah,
they
dude.
they feel like they're actually doing something, and it's just. I got secondaries going 12 kilometers over here, 11 and a half on this one. I'm not hitting anything with my main guns, but I don't care. It's a fucking fireworks show. Oh, and here's a torp. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all people want. They just want to go out there and have a good time. And those boats, arguably not the best boats, but they are fun to play. Except for the Gneissen and the Bismarck, because they're terrible.
The German ships hit the fun meter. So I'm all for it.
Let them have some fun. They are very popular, and especially like the Massachusetts, Georgia, and Ohio are very popular among people as well. But effectiveness versus how you have to play them and how the meta is not very good for that push currently with all the HE spamming. But so you still fall into that category of I'm going to float around for about 8 minutes and then I'm going to push. Mm-hmm. That's about what you have to do anymore. Because God knows if you push early, you're probably going to get that big Canadian dick on the wall.
Oh yeah. Big old Canadian. It's not a dick. It's a Canadian arrow.
Canadian arrow?
Yeah. All right.
All right. Canadian arrow. That's
from
what
Ontario.
There you go. Speaking of Germans, this buff that they got for their dispersion didn't do dick. Like it's so minuscule. Like it doesn't make a difference. I don't think. What do you think? Have you played?
The
a lot
German. You're talking about the arc.
The German dispersion buff.
Well, wasn't it? Is it a buff? It's just kind of a change to the ellipse. But I don't know. In some situations, like they're still really inaccurate, but like it's a little quality of life. I don't think it really affects. I would love to see if maybe the average damage went up though.
I'd like to know that, but I don't think that they'll tell us.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I knew the German buff was coming out, and I had reset my line, and I got up to the Baron, and then I stopped playing it until about a week after the change hit. So I went into the most dreaded boats of the 7 and 8 in the German line for me, and I really didn't see much of a difference. When my shot was on, my shot was on. When my shot was off, it said, "Fuck you! There's no way you're getting this." And it was like every 3 games I would have a game that was my guns were actually effective. Or they felt effective. Now, again, the last probably 6 games that I played in the Bismarck before I rolled into the Freddy, 150,000 minimum damage to 170,000 all 6 games, and I just felt so terrible about that damage. And I was like, man. I let one guy comment in the chat and was like, dude, you just got 150,000. What are you bitching about? And I was like, look at this. I had broadside from 10 kilometers and I sprayed the motherfucker down and it went all over the fucking place instead of hitting the guy and killing the guy. That's the frustration that I have with those boats because I know,
for sure.
I mean, you know it. The game does not let you perform at your best at times. And that's the most frustrating thing about it. You know you're aiming correctly, but the dispersion says "fuck you," and that's you're taking my ability to excel based on my skill level out of my hands. That's so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you will. What I think will end up happening with the ellipse change is you will end up seeing. You will not notice a difference until you have a miracle shot, and you'll maybe get a miracle shot like a little bit more often. So majority of the time, I don't think you're going to see a difference, but I think you will see maybe some better dispersion every once in a while. Just it's going to be flatter.
Yeah. And then, the thing about the Americans, sometimes the Americans' dispersion is god awful, but it's so flat that it just kind of sprays across the entire boat instead of going up and down. Whereas the Japanese are the complete opposite. They have a lot of up and down, but a very narrow window left or right. So you'll get shots that come out of your Yamato, your Yamato that'll turn completely 360 and it'll be one straight line. or two straight lines going up and down, going across the thing. So you might hit the two shells in the middle, but the top and the bottom, they're going to fall short and go long. And
Yeah,
the German,
yeah, you'll still get German salvo. But somebody said they notice it a lot in the GK. I think the GK overall was fairly accurate beforehand.
Well,
Um,
this also goes back
yeah.
to the 7, 8, and 9 are only maximum of 2 guns per turret. So there's a lot of margin for error. I have not gotten into the GK yet, so I really can't say that if I noticed a difference. But we will be getting into that probably next week or so, because I'm only doing 10,000 a day. I can't stand to be playing these boats. 10K a day, man, keeps the boredom away, bro.
I always cite you on that as like, hey, if you're going through something you don't like it, do Venom's 10K a day, dude.
There you go. Thanks for the credit, bro.
Yeah, it's a good idea though. I mean, I did it for some of the road to tier 10 stuff. I didn't like playing some of the nations, and I'm like, all right, let's just go do 10K a day. Let's go get my 10K.
You flag up, you camo up, and then you get your win of the day. That's pretty much 10K. Even if you lose that game, you're getting 9K. Play it again anyway. Make sure that you get that 10K a day. So then the next day when you get 10K, you're already chunked in. You're taking time off of the back end if you go and play it a second time at 9K. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hope so. But sometimes, you'll do that. You'll go, oh, man, I got 6K. Well, we got to play it again. And then you win and you have a fucking badass game and you get 16,000 experience, with all the buffs and shit. So, you're taking big chunks off the back end of it.
Yeah. No, it adds up. It adds up super quick. You can get really 10K in one game if you get a good win. And, usually what you end up doing is you get one good game and a couple flagged up and camoed up and yada, yada. And then by the next thing you know, it's so easy.
Oh yeah,
a good little session. You're like, okay, that was 60,000 XP. I didn't realize it.
Yeah, it goes relatively quickly if you pay attention to it. I was very surprised. They've made it so easy with all these bonus flags and bonus camos to level up through. I remember playing 150 games in the fucking Mogami before I got to the Ibuki.
Oh yeah, I mean back in the day, dude. Yeah. Like we sound like old.
We're old hats, man. I'm telling you, we've been around for a long. I've been around for almost 4 years. Like June will be 4 years, and the game has changed completely since I started playing. You've been around a little bit longer than me, so.
Yeah, but I mean, you used to think 500 games, 600 games to get to tier 10, and
yep.
I think I did one of the lines just with premium time. Obviously, higher level skill. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that. I don't mean it in any that way. But like, just this is obviously not like beginning level play. Is you just get? I think I got through one line to tier 10 in 90 games or something like that. I mean, it's just it does not take that much anymore. It's kind of crazy how fast you can actually do it.
We did a little count to get from tier 1 to tier 6.
And that's not with all the buffs too.
Took like 20 games or something like that. It wasn't.
It
didn't take anything at all. With all the buffs, with premium time and all the flags and shit. I mean, I used up all those damn community contributor camos that I got. I had like 300 or 400 saved up. I'm down to like 150 now.
Yeah, that was.
But I'm burning 90, through 3 lines at a time. So.
Yeah, well, that was 90 games with premium time, the 50% flag, and 100%. It was just those. Those were the only buffs. So, and I guess clan battle, the clan bonus buff, but like just those. I guess those 4. And so as long as you're just not as bad as Pokey, you can get through it fairly quick.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's really nice looking down out of our ivory tower, isn't it?
That's right, dude.
That's right. Looking down. Hey, man.
Just gotta make warships great again, man. That's all we're trying to do. Making warships great again.
Warships great again.
That's right.
Give me back my battleship AP versus destroyers. That'll make me happy.
This is the year.
This is the year. All right, guys. We're hanging out with my man, twitch.tv/MEjash. Well, his name's not twitch.tv/MEjash, but his name is MEjash. What's up, dude? You enjoying yourself?
Yeah, I was like, are we starting it over? I was like, hey, man, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Yesterday we had some brutal games, but today was actually pretty good.
All right, twitch.tv/MEjash or at MEjashTV over on the Twitter sphere and youtube.com/MEjash. Check him out, guys. Really fucking fantastic deal. We've added a new segment to the show. It's called Ship of the Week. The last ship of the week was the Massachusetts, so I took the winner. People are posting in my Discord screenshots, so we're taking best games, damage experience, blah blah blah, so that winner was announced as. Hold on, I'll tell you who it is. I don't have it up right now. Currently, it is it was a kind of a minimal game, but Farting Chick is the guy's name over on Discord. So he won, and I gave him some camo codes. So what happened was I let the guest pick, and the last guest was Overlord Bo, and he picked the Massachusetts because that was his favorite ship. Any ship that you think that you want to see people actually fucking play, or anything, man, doesn't matter. It could be your favorite ship, could be the one you hate the most. That just to fuck with.
I mean, we gotta pick the Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, you want to? All right, Puerto Rico,
No,
guys.
I don't want to do the. I don't want to do the Puerto Rico.
You don't want to do the Puerto Rico? All right.
No, that's too good. Ship that I started playing a lot because of the directives to kind of catch up. The Sim.
The Sims?
Sims, I guess maybe Sims or Mahan. Is that fair to accept both?
No, Sims B. That's it.
All right, fine.
Sims or Sims B. If you want to say the Sims, we'll do the Sims. But it's
there you go.
It's your boat. It's your choice. All right, boys. Ship of the week. This is the Sims. I will accept Sims B as well because it's the same fucking boat, just a different color, and because we don't discriminate here. If you guys want to post those pictures there in Discord, discord.gg/sirvenomik, there is a page called Podcast Ship of the Week. You guys just go put your just go in there and put your screenshots of that, and I will choose by the next podcast, which is next week. So you guys will get that up. So either way, you guys enjoy that. The Sims. What do you think of the Sims overall?
I love it, man. I mean, Tier 7, we've kind of talked about. Tier 7 has been hit really, really hard by the power creep. But I really, really still enjoy the Sims. The guns are so good. Actually, the torps, because they just got kind of changed up. So you now have the faster. They're not all C mines, Yeah. So you have the slow 10.5s, but now you have the faster, I think 7. So I think there's 7s.
I don't remember. Offhand.
But you have the 2 versions now. But
kind of like you do with the low yang.
Yeah, I like the Sims, man. It's still so good. It has the base XP multiplier, so
the XP on the Sims
really good for that.
Ridiculous,
and it's just strong. We've having really good games with it.
I think I have a love-hate relationship with the Sims. I like the Sims under 6 kilometers, but fucking hate it over 6 with the guns.
So do you hate? Okay, here we go. Do you hate all USN destroyers?
No, I love the US destroyers.
Because isn't the trajectory is basically the same on all of them?
There's a difference. There's a minor difference between the Benson and the Sims. Minor difference, and I ranked out. My very first rank out season was in the Benson, so I have a little bit, a little bit of love for that. The Sims with 4 guns and the big arcing loops really struggle over 6 kilometers for me. Now, some people that are better aiming these things, I guess they will really love it, but I don't think that the damage is all that great on them. Like when I hit somebody, as I tend to do, I'll sit there in my smoke and I'll spam on a battleship getting 290 damage. I get that same damage on destroyers, and it single gun. I don't know. I struggle with this boat over 6 kilometers. Under 6, it's one of the strongest boats at Tier 7.
That's good.
I mean, it's not bad. The torps are trolly as fuck, so I like seeing those. But I don't know. Like I said, I love it under 6. Over 6, I'm not a fan of it. But it's a pretty good boat though, overall.
For sure. Yeah, it's I've been playing it a lot more recently.
Yeah.
Just for obviously the Puerto Rico. But man, I was getting bored as shit because I was playing the same ships over and over and over because it was so grindy. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, it was almost getting like a bummer. I was playing the same destroyers and the same couple ships because it's the most efficient. Yeah, and it got a little old after a while.
This is where I've started instituting. About an hour or 2 hours toward the end of the show. When I get done everything that I had planned for the day, of opening it up to the chat and saying, hey, what do you guys want to see?
Yeah, go for it.
Open it up to the chat. What do you guys want to see me play? And it's Total Request Live with Carson Daly or Carson Venom, and the chat dictates what I play. And so I'm playing some weird ass shit that I wouldn't normally play. You know,
Well, that's fun too, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, it's totally different. And if I have a bad game, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to play that again because I think that back when I was coming up in through the games, you playing the same boat over and over and over again, and so you're learning the ins and outs of that boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've lost a little bit of that feelings for these boats when I'm playing in tier 10 and I play tier 10s all night, and then we go back and they're like, okay, we'll play the Sims, and I go play one game in the Sims, and I'm like, man, it's really kind of shitty. But then when you play it 3 or 4 times in a row, you're getting to see more opportunities for you to excel. So I think a lot of people miss that when they bounce around from ship to ship to ship to ship all the time. Uh,
Oh, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, the muscle memory you lose
oh yeah.
by doing too many ships is it's way too much.
I think that when it comes to things like the North Carolina, it takes me 2 or 3 games to get back in the feel of
Mhm.
those of the arcs, the shell speeds and stuff. So
Absolutely. Yeah, bouncing around too many ships. I always recommend when people are grinding through lines if they're newer to the game is limiting to pretty much like limited it to 3 lines going down because you don't want to spread yourself too thin when kind of playing the game because you don't want to always have to go in and um have that like kind of refresher game,
hmm
you're like, oh man, I haven't played this, and then you get in and you're like, oh man, my aim is off on this. I mean,
hmm
even though it's all the same numbers, right? 7 seconds on lead, you go here, blah blah blah, you go here. It's even though it's nothing too new, but if you haven't played, like if you played a ton of French cruisers or even let's say Russian cruisers, that has a very low trajectory.
yeah,
Um,
and then you switch
and
over to play the American.
American destroyers or whatever,
hmm
it's a completely different world
Oh yeah.
of just like having to lead in one. So yeah, I always recommend limiting the lines you're going down.
I'd say I tend to tell people to roll two lines. Just I say 2 lines, and just in case you die in one, you can immediately go into another game, so you're not sitting around waiting. Uh, just to keep your interest peaked, but run as many lines as you want to that you can
I
that
always
you can
recommend this.
afford.
I always recommend this. I
Yeah.
recommend 3, and
Okay.
I recommend the primary line you want
Okay.
to go with. So whatever you're playing, rec- the primary line, and then the secondary line is the counter to the counter of your primary line. So if you're playing battleships and destroyers are dicking you over, as a secondary line, play a line that counters DD
All right.
because you're gonna get annoyed, right? Because either it's a destroyer or a CV or whatever. Because people aren't going to go out and do their job. They're gonna basically get annoyed, and then after that, play a third line that you think is fun. So
Oh, yeah, that's a good
that's
idea.
what I always recommend.
That's a very good idea. All right, guys, we got a bunch of questions here, so we'll go ahead and skip over. I don't have anything left. We've really talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. Is there anything
Oh,
else? Anything else news
yeah.
wise that?
What do you think about what do you think about the new captain? I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Do you think he's too strong?
We're talking about Andrew Cunningham.
Yeah.
Is he too strong? I don't necessarily think he's too strong. He's a jack of all trades, and I've been a big fan of utility, um, especially when it comes to ships. But is Kuznetsov too strong? I mean, he gets that heal and shit, and that's really good for other DDs, and it's good for cruisers that may not have a heal. So I don't
Yeah.
I don't think he's too strong. I mean, if he's in the game, this guy will be fine.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? It was um trying to think of what his buffs were. Destroyers. I mean, it nullifies the weakness. Um, it nullifies the kind of the weakness of what the Royal Navy destroyers have, which is they're relatively slow. So you're going to get extra speed from that. And if you're a CV, basically you get that buff instantly. So one drop and you're going to get that. But I could see them affecting the values a little bit. We saw that on I think on the French captain before it went live. Was it the French captain? Like right before it went live, um, it got nerfed a little bit. Like those numbers got like halved. So we could probably see that. But overall, I think he's fairly strong. Some of those numbers are a tad high though.
You think? Do you think it's a little high then? Do you think it's too strong?
He's
Overall, I
good.
mean,
I think he's a good captain. I think he really
I
is.
think, I
So
think, I think. Honestly, man, I think the best captain that's in the game is John Doe.
there you go.
You know,
Easy
or
peasy.
I'm sorry, it's Steven Seagal. Fire alarm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just the audio alone
yeah, just the
is
audio
good.
alone. I like that they're doing these. Do you like the captains? I mean, like I kind of like the different flavors of these different captains. Trying to find them where they're going to be most effective. Obviously, that's going to be the hardest part. But do you like the idea of having these special captains?
Yeah. I do. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to go out and earn them. They aren't really as long as they make them earnable.
Okay,
Um,
not
I
viable.
think that yeah. I think if they have the special ones, now that's what I'm talking about. The special, as long as they leave those as earnable and not just sold in the store, like Ovechkin was sold in the store, but you could earn like a version of Ovechkin, yada yada. Um, but yeah, I think they're cool. But even you're starting to see like some power creep even in the captains. It's
Right.
just like even compared to Yamamoto. I mean, some of his buffs are obviously solid,
So
but
his buffs are solid, but you do see you do see the easing up of the requirements for these because you have to get a Kraken to get Yamamoto's
yeah,
extra shit, and so they've kind of gone the other direction. I would think that they would keep it at a really high pace thing, but if you look at the French captain, all you have to do is get a fucking cap in this thing,
yeah, you get a
and you can get
cap.
that
I mean,
cap.
the new
Oh,
one you get two floodings,
yeah,
so it's just like what that's one torp drop. That's one torp salvo.
that's like really
Um,
really easy. I mean,
yeah.
you
Um,
think that if they're going to give buffs like this on this guy, that maybe they should up the requirements for the buffs
mm,
because we've already established you think that these things are strong. These buffs are a little on the strong side, maybe not overpowered, but a little bit on the strong side. Do you think that they should up the requirements a little bit on some of these to keep them in line with stuff like Yamamoto?
um, I think Yamamoto. I am just such a proponent for them putting in more campaigns. I love campaigns. I
Yeah,
love campaigns. It promotes people playing, which is something they want to do. It promotes people even getting buying tier 8 premiums because it helps you get through stuff. Um, I
right.
love things kind of being tied into events, not just hidden by directives and Italian cruiser tokens and yada yada
Boxes.
yada. It's like copy pasta annoying thing.
Yeah, you get your to some extent. Now, this game has never been pay to win ever because even if you bought the Belfast when it came out, if you're an idiot, then you're going to get deleted. So how is that giving you an advantage? Period. So no pay to win in this game, but there is a lot of content behind some paywalls, and Puerto Rico was. Yes, it was earnable, but it was extreme earnable. So a lot of people felt that this was content behind a paywall, and
Hmm.
I saw a lot of the comments on the Twitter sphere of saying, "Wow, they really took a page out of EA's book with their fucking content behind paywalls."
Yeah.
And you get that feeling a lot more the more of these fucking boxes and more of these resources that they pull out, the Italian tokens, the British tokens, and all this other shit.
So what do you think about I think the new way they're going to end up doing it is what the current one is. How do you feel about that, where it's not so much the tokens, but it's more of the latest event where you can see what you're actually getting, and then you're more so
I
much gambling on
It's
what
a
the
gamble,
next one is?
man. It's a fucking gamble. My RNG being the way that it is and so fucking shitty. The last one that they did, I don't know how many it was. I had to eat up like 10 or 12. I had to eat up 10 or 12 of them to get the things that I needed.
Oh yeah, no,
So I mean, I know some people who every one they get them in the first three, and then I'm sitting there getting them at 10. And I know one guy who got it all the way to the end before he was able to actually get it the very last fucking one. So I
yeah,
think it's a little bit random. I don't like it. I don't like that fact. If I want this thing, let me go fucking buy the goddamn thing. If I want to buy it,
hmm
let me pull out my wallet and say, I'm a fucking whale.
Just have it all available. They just have to be like so careful about that kind of stuff.
Well,
You know, they got to be.
They're treading a really fine line. I mean, well, actually, they've kind of blown past the line and gone over it. They started treading the line with the the Christmas boxes and stuff, and they saw how successful that was, and so now they're playing off of that popularity, and they're kind of just manipulating it a little bit so they could get a little bit more money out of it. Basically, if as long as they're not doing it for doubloons, or where I'm paying and I'm having to earn through these things, I don't care. But as soon as they start charging me doubloons for these coins, well then fuck you, because now it becomes content wall or paywall, and I don't appreciate that at all, especially with my RNG.
Then the upcoming one, I guess, isn't that. Well, that was mainly just the one I'm talking about. The upcoming event, I guess, isn't the doubloons for the tokens. It's just kind of the doubloons for just the early access to the ship.
No.
But yeah,
if you want to just talk about early access, I fucking hate early access being starting at tier 5 and going up to 7. Start at 1, 2, and 3.
Going up to 8.
Yeah, right. Going up to 8. You're giving away fucking 80% of your goddamn content, man. Give away the 1, 2, and 3 and let people fucking do it, man. It's so stupid to give away all of your content. And no wonder you've had to introduce something like the Research Bureau, because nobody's fucking playing anything originally. So they're getting tier 8, they're playing through it to tier 10, and then they're resetting all the way back to 1. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And you're giving away 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then 9 and 10 are coming back later. Fuck that, man. That's so stupid. You're literally wanting people to play the game, and you're wanting to encourage people to play the game. Stop giving half of it away.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of, they've dug them. So that's why the Research Bureau is a thing, right? Is they've kind of dug this hole, so they're trying to think of other things. But again, that's why I'm so for them making more game modes. I think we are running out of stuff to kind of do. They're forcing people into higher tiers by giving them more XP, giving them more credits, giving them more bonuses on stuff, give basically everything free, letting them skip to tier 8s if they get lucky enough. But at least skipping to tier, I mean, if you even play a little bit, you're probably getting tier 5 or tier 6 just by playing casually.
I think, when did they start doing the skipping shit?
I think the first one was Royal Navy battleships.
Yeah, that's right. Because I played like 3 games in the QE and then went through in that way. And I don't think I reset the line, so I had to play through them. But once I reset the line, it was the first time I went down there. Nobody's going to go back and play 2, 3, and 4. Or 3, 4, and 5. I mean, if you start at 7, why go back to 6? Who cares? You're already at 7 and move on. So I think they miss out. We get all this content and you're wasting your fucking time. It's literally a waste of fucking time for wargaming to put these 1, 2, 3s, and 4s in there if they're going to give away 5, because nobody's going to want to go back and play that until they have to.
Yeah. So I kind of always make the joke. There's only a couple people that play low tiers, and it's brand new players and seal clubbers. There's no in between. So, yeah. We'll see what ends up happening, but I mean, I think I don't know. More game modes. Just give us more game modes to fix so many problems.
Give me fucking more game modes and give me something.
Okay, Venom, here you go. Yeah. What do you want to see in 2000?
And in 2020, what do I want to see?
Yeah, for World of Warships, what do you want to see?
Well, what I really want to see, I can't say because that'll be breach of contract. But either way, I want to see. Let's see. What do I want to see? I never even asked. I never even really thought what I wanted to see here.
Gotcha.
Would love to see more game modes, like you said. I would love to see a shift in the meta from the HE spam. I would love to see battleships come back, like fuck the real mechanics of the game and go back to where I could actually blap these motherfuckers off the board and punish the cruisers for being broadside anymore. You can't do it hardly any. Consistently, I would like to see a little bit more of that. That's what I want to see. That old school feel of battleships actually mean something, because at some of these tiers, are you scared of the battleships at 10? Nope, because you can just HE spam them to death and they can't hit you.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. That's what I want to see, but it'll never happen. So.
Yeah, I was just like, when you said get away from the HE meta, I was just like, oh boy, it's gonna be a tough year.
It's gonna be a tough year. It's definitely gonna be a tough year. Anyway, I wanted to go into some of the boats that released last year, but we're like already 2.5 hours. So
Yeah, that's all good.
if you're down, and we can go over some of those, or we can just go straight into questions.
We can go over those. Doesn't matter.
All right, I'm going to skip some of these because I think they're terrible and they really didn't have much of an impact on the game. Yahagi, that's one of them. I'm going to delete that one off my board.
Yeah, pretty much.
Arc Royal, terrible. I'm going to delete it off the board. What else? Sirocco, don't give two fucks about that thing. Nobody's playing it. Yoshino's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's all right.
Oh, is the patch getting delayed today?
It's supposed to be out tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? Okay, I saw somebody post something about it maybe getting messed up.
According to the thing, it's supposed to be at 4:00 in the morning on the 15th Central Time. Irian came out, pretty good boat. Thoughts, real quick. We'll just roll through some of these. The Irian, Irian's out there, pretty decent boat. Kudersoft clone, basically. What do you think?
I think it's good. It offers a kind of unique trade. Definitely not as good as Cuda because obviously Smoke is just so strong, but I think solid. I think it was a solid ship. Not bad, not super good, but not bad.
The next one, I think, is probably one of the biggest sleepers and one of my favorite boats from last year is the Wichita, or what I like to call the Wichita. I think it's a fucking phenomenal boat. And
Wichita was good.
Majority of the people sleep on that.
Not many people play it.
Mm-mm.
And definitely went through a couple different versions of what the ship was before. I don't know, before like it went live. But I think that's a ship that not many people got. Oh, that was the ship that got released. They advertised it as the 10-kilometer radar, and then it wasn't, right?
Yeah, it's like I think it's 9.
9, I think. Yeah.
That they released it advertising as 10-kilometer radar, and then they quickly changed it. The radar ranges, didn't they?
Yeah, like right before it went live.
Yeah, something like that. And that was early. That was February of 2016. Also in February, the Alaska came out. Pretty solid boat.
Oh yeah, I think it's hard to really find too much negative about the Alaska. Alaska's a solid ship. It's just strong. It's not the strongest, but it's strong.
Yeah,
and
it's definitely no slouch.
Yeah.
Exeter, don't care. I don't play it. You?
It was free. Can't really hate free ships.
Yep.
So tier 5 had high AA. Decent. Nothing too great.
Decent guns for tier 5.
Yeah.
Azuma, don't care. It's like long range AT spam, and Japanese cruiser don't really care too much for it.
It's the one free XP ship that I tell people just to avoid. They'll say like, "Oh, what should I get next? Should I get this or Azuma?" And I said, just save up your free XP or just don't get it.
That's the Azuma. We'll go into the Yoshino when we get down to it. Lazo came out April the 25th. The Lazo and the Neutered Shimmy and the Azure Lane Montpelier and the Yukikaze all came out at the same. I've recently got the Neutered Shimmy. It's not terrible.
Oh, you bought the new Sashimi?
Yeah. I don't really give a fuck about the Stalingrad, so I didn't buy that one. Plus, I had enough with a coupon to get the Neutered Shimmy, so I went ahead and got that. It's not awful. It's got that super heal on it. It's all right.
I always give that ship shit. It is by far the worst steel ship in this entire game.
Definitely compared to the rest of them. Yeah, it's definitely bad. Yeah, compared to that
such a waste of steel.
It in and of itself, it's not awful boat. Lazo came out, not a bad boat. Just kind of.
That was on a free ship.
Yep. The Azure Lane Montpelier. It's another really good boat. During the 1v1 rank battles, I absolutely got slaughtered by 2 people in the Montpeliers. IFHE were taking 5,000 or 7,000 out of my Prince Eugene on the top, and I couldn't do anything to him. I would hit him with HE for 1,000. I would hit him for AP on the broadside and bounce. So yeah, bounce or overpin. So I was just like, the Montpelier was so good during that.
That's a good shit.
Yukikaze, 8-kilometer torpedo Kagero. I really enjoy this just basically for the captain, because when you hit something, she laughs at you. She laughs at the enemy. That's the only reason why I play it, because it's funny.
The only time I ever use a hentai captain is when chat makes me some.
Makes you.
So, yeah.
There you go.
So, but I'm not an IJ and Destroyer fan.
Yeah.
So.
I don't play them very often unless we're trolling 20-kilometer shimmies or something. It's about the
Yeah.
only time I really get at them. Or when they say, "Hey guys, what do y'all want to see?" and they're like, "Okay, do you want AIDS, super duper AIDS, or do you want Smolensk?" And they say super AIDS or something, and I'll play like a Harry Gumbo or a Kitakaze or something. And
Yeah.
we'll get up a division that's really stupid together. Like Belfast, Atlanta, Flint, that kind of combinations. Lenin came out in March. March, April, May the 8th. Lenin came out. It was the only ship in May. Thoughts on the
London
Lenin?
was good.
Yeah, Lenin's real good.
Good
Uh,
ship. I think that one's a ship that not many people got. That is actually quite good.
I think it's
London's a good
very
ship.
good. I think it's very good. The Georgia came out. I'm not a fan of it, but I know a lot of people are. That's in June.
I always recommend it. I think it's a good pickup.
If
I
you
think
got,
Jean Bart is still my top pick, but Georgia's probably third. I recommend for coal ships, third or fourth.
I generally recommend the same John Bart, Smolensk, and then it doesn't matter. I don't care whatever you want to pick after that.
I would say those are my top two, and then I say if you want a ship that's better, Thunderer is a better ship. I think Georgia is more.
Yeah,
So go
no,
off of that.
Georgia's more fun, definitely. One that people sleep on, I don't think a lot of people got, the fucking Hill at Tier 5. Came out in June 27th. The Hill is an amazing boat. And if you guys have not gotten the Hill yet, if it ever comes out to the store, fucking buy that thing, man. That thing is nasty. That came out in the Rogue Wave event during the summertime with the Benham, which is the next boat that came out.
The Hill is one of my favorite tier fives. We played it today. We always play the King of the Hill theme song.
Oh, yeah. I
When
like it. I think the
when we
Hill's
play
fucking
it.
phenomenal,
It's
man.
good.
It's so good. The guns are
Good.
so good for the tier. The next one is the Benham. Great randoms, shitty in ranked. And don't let anybody ever tell you that it's good in ranked because they're fucking morons.
It was Benham is insane. I don't think. Um, I still think it's overpowered for randoms exactly, but yeah, it's a very very fun ship. If you missed out on that, you definitely missed out because I feel like the Benham is one of those ships that they'll never release again, but it will be in packs somewhere.
Little Christmas
Insanely good
boxes or
ship.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Benham is such a strong ship with the 1 minute reloads on the torpedoes. 16 of them in a minute that you can reload. This thing is ridiculous. Drop two, turn around, drop two, and then just kind of float around and wait till you can drop more.
hmm
Yoshino came out pretty solid. I kind of like the Yoshino. I like it better than the Azuma. I think the Azuma is just inaccurate, and the Yoshino when you hit, fucking hurts. It fucking
Yeah,
hurts.
it's nasty. Some people called it like the Kremlin counter in a way because if you get inertia fuse, it penned whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a solid ship. Just I would call it boring.
Oh yeah. It's very long range. You're
It's
not going to
big
push in this at
Zal.
all.
Yeah, it's a perfect ship for holding down the flank because it's relatively tanky, has a large health pool. It punishes things when they're spotted. 20-kilometer torps. Definitely a solid ship.
Good ship. We got Bayard, pretty solid tier 8, very squish.
Yeah, like a starter Colbert. So solid ship.
And then that was in July 25th. Coming rolling into August, then we get into where we get OPness, and we've been talking about OPness for the last 4 months. Colbert, Summers, and the Smolensk all came out on August the 21st.
Yep, the spamming.
The spamming happened. Yeah, the Colbert. I actually went and got the Colbert first, as opposed to the Ohio. I love the Atlanta play style, and just
Yeah.
holding the button down and finding those boats are so good when you have an island in front of you and you can spam over and the battleships come slowly into you. Man, you just murder them, just HE spam all over the place.
Yeah.
Colbert's a really good boat in my opinion.
Very, very, very good boat.
Summers, pretty average. Pretty average. Guns are decent, but the long reload. Basically, an American shimmy, I guess, is what a lot of people have said.
It's very good. I've been playing it a lot, and it's kind of that bridge between. It's kind of like the gateway drug in between U.S. Sun destroyers and IGN torp boats, and kind of is in a way another. Like I would almost say it's kind of like funny in a way because it just seems like it's just better than the Shima. Like things just keep doing stuff better than the IGN destroyers at what the IGN destroyers do well.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's like when they released the Massachusetts, and that whole side of the line is that they're better secondary boats than the Germans, and that's what they are good at.
yeah,
Smolensk came out on that same day. Arguably one of the most overpowered ships out there. I don't just take away the smoke. I think it's fine. What do you think?
I think give it a little bit more armor and fine.
Yeah.
Let it punished if it actually gets hit instead of just overpen for days. But
Yep.
no, Smolensk is I think one of the worst things that's ever been added into this game. It's such
Just
a bad
wait, man! I can't wait
presence
for
to the
the
game. And Slava, yeah,
I
if you
can't
ever
wait for
see
that
it.
shit. I saw something today in the Discord that got me wondering if they're actually going to bring it out. And I don't think they will. Friesland came out pretty solid, no torps. Hydro, good cap deterrent guy, and fucking monster AA. Like if we want to talk about AA, this is like it has a little bit of an old school AA feel on this boat.
Yeah, Friesland's good. It's very unique. You have to really like destroyers or be a decent player, I think, to really make it work. It's not a very new player friendly ship.
Okay.
Not having torps, only having the 2 turrets. But no, it's I think overall, I think for what it is, it's kind of like almost like the Bliss. Like the Bliss has a unique playstyle, and if you can make it work, it's a lot of fun. Friesland has a unique playstyle. If you can make it work, it's a lot
If you
of
can
fun.
make it work, it
I
can
like
be
the ship a
very
lot.
good.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Udachi, man, don't really care. Thunderer came out in September, and the Ohio, pretty solid. Whatever, give or take. If you like the big gun Conqueror, you're gonna like the Thunderer. Thoughts on that and the Ohio?
Yeah, Thunder I think is good. It's a really good ship. It kind of offers a bit of a different play to the Conqueror when the Conqueror went through its change. Also with the Ohio, I hope we talked about this a little bit today on my stream.
Okay.
I hope that we see like a future secondary. I mean, there's enough USN battleships that they could probably do it. I hope we see like a secondary spec USN line, like a split. Maybe like even like I think like the California technically has a little bit better secondaries, but
technically there's something that I was like, why didn't they just make the Massachusetts, Ohio, fucking Georgia into that line split to begin with? And the answer was fucking money, and that was the only reason. Would I like to see another secondary line boat? As long as it's triple guns, I don't care. Double guns, you can fucking fuck off. Verbis Unitas, don't care. I'm not even going to talk about it. Genova, don't give a shit. Not going to talk about it. Sims B, Scharnhorst B, Graf Zeppelin, Alaska B, don't care. They're all the same boats that we've already had.
Coolest looking camos in the game, though.
Except for
cosmetically, the cool looking camo.
Except for the Graf Zeppelin when there's no detail on the planes at all whatsoever. Do you see that?
No, I don't play CB.
Yeah,
I don't have time to be a loser, Venom. All right, I don't play CB.
Poltavo.
I like the original version.
Yeah,
they quote unquote buffed it. I think it's worse.
Yeah, I think it's worse as well. Godzilla AP Monster, pretty average Italian cruiser. Does really well at 8. I think I like it better than I did the Amalfi when I was playing through that, even without the torps.
Wait, the Gorizia?
Mm-hmm. Godzilla.
It's a tier 7.
Well, whatever. You get the point.
Yeah. It's Italian. It's held back by SAP.
Yep. And then the last one to release for last year was the Puerto Rico. I actually really enjoy this boat. I think it's pretty fucking strong. We've been playing it quite a bit every day, and just murders the size of cruisers. AP doesn't really murder much on battleships unless you're close, but HE spam does.
Yeah. I think it's a it's a decent ship. It's nothing too crazy. That's why I was trying to be like, hey, if you don't get it, it's no real big deal.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a bigger, less efficient Alaska, but it's all right. It's just, I think it's forever tainted by a really, really poorly ran event.
Oh, yeah.
That just had basically no planning.
Par for the course when it comes to wargaming and events. I mean, they generally do events pretty good, but they've had some pretty messed up releases as of late, starting with the Smolensk release, and how a majority of us community contributors and super testers were all saying, I've talked to a couple of super testers, but they were saying that they all have said the same thing, that this does not need to be in the game, but they were like, fuck y'all, we don't care. We're gonna put it in, we're gonna put it in there where we want it to, a la subs, a la CV rework, a la AAB and bullshit, blah blah blah. Either way, all right. Moving on. Josh, I appreciate you coming in. We're gonna skip some of these questions because now we're almost 9 hours 45 minutes, or 9 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. I know you're ready to go play Rim Job. I mean Rim World.
I think we're gonna end up pushing it to tomorrow. I don't want to only play for an hour.
All right. Pro John 13 says no new campaign is nuts. I wish that they would do more campaigns to give people more opportunities to continue to playing and have a goal. I mean, I think a lot of people stop playing the game because they get bored because they're playing the same shit over and over again and they never have really an objective to accomplish.
I mean, like you could maybe Wargaming would argue that directives have kind of replaced the campaigns, but I would love for them to I see them in 2020 making a big push for more and more things being out of the Research Bureau. So, which they've kind of started to do last year at the end of it. More and more, they're talking about the upgrades being in there, the legendary upgrades. They're talking about a bunch of other stuff. Probably one of the ships that we talked about today will probably end up being there. But like, I would like to maybe it's a way to unlock stuff because it just you want something. We're all going to be playing the game grinding anyway, right?
Right.
So give us something to do while we're grinding to take our mind off of just grinding in the.
Yeah. I think that at some point in time, for me personally, I'm not going to want to regrind alliance anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm going to get
even
to that point.
If you need to pound right through it, like why would you keep doing it?
Yeah. I think that Research Bureau has merit for a short span, but if they're really going to dump, which we've already seen that they are, so this is kind of I don't know, confirmed here by MEjash, that they are going to dump a lot of shit behind that Research Bureau wall. I think that a lot of that shit I'm just going to not get, because now it becomes a task and a chore, and it becomes boring to do the same shit over and over again. It's cool for the first little bit, you get your ships or whatever, but
it's cool to revisit lines. It's cool to do that, but kind of do it. You stack up your free XP, you get your free XP done, yada yada yada. You can kind of blast through, and then you're good. But I don't know. That's where they're trying to make more content, is just doing it over again. So if they give us something to do that will let us, they need to kind of like give us something to do. Like we're gonna be running on this track, right? Or running on this treadmill. They need to give us like a magazine to read while we're doing it. So that just makes it go
give us
a
an
little
event
easier,
to accomplish something while we reset.
Give us a campaign and make us play a little bit outside our comfort zone instead of doing the same thing every game and shit.
Absolutely. Revo 15 says the only thing I remember this event is the ARP event, and he remembers it being fun. The original ARP event was hard. The original Miyoko, because it had missions like you need to be in a Japanese cruiser and go kill German DDs or German boats. And that was so fucking hard to do when you're being the German and nobody else is playing Japanese boats, and like you're like, okay, well, I'm fucked this game because there's no Japanese boats for me to kill. And I'm glad that they kind of went away from those, because then they kind of went damage based, experience based. How many torpedoes do I hit? Shit like that, as opposed to specifically targeting one section, because then you got a bunch of salt from the community. You took my kill. I did 90,000 damage to that, and you did 1. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. I got my kill. Get out of here.
I want them to do more events like the Pearl event, where it doesn't do the shark versus eagle stuff. It doesn't do any of that. Like it makes the community help each other, all work together. And if the community kicks ass together, instead of splitting up, because if it's ever going to split, right? I mean, as we saw in the last one, it was like the same team won every time.
Oh yeah. The Sharks versus Eagles event, the Sharks won every time. I ended up on both teams. I got everything I could from the Eagles and then swapped over to got the other one.
Yeah,
I didn't care. It didn't matter to me.
But I wish they would just have it as a unified thing, as the whole community playing together, and you see like everyone working together. So
yeah,
I would love to see more of that, more community stuff. That's just more fun. And then everyone gets whatever, and then
Give me another campaign for another captain. Blah blah blah. That'd be
Something.
fun. Something. Anything. Give me more fucking maps. Give me more game modes. I Die Quick says the clan battle numbers don't seem to be down that far. That far down.
From what? What are you comparing that to?
I'm not sure what he compared it to. But that's all he said.
Well, I mean, if you've looked at the information, if you looked at the actual data of clan battles, it's nothing but going down. So
it's gone down quite a bit from what I've seen.
There's like a 10% drop like every season.
At what was the percentage of the first season?
Oh, we have less. We had less people. This was 2 seasons ago, so we don't have the most recent season.
Right.
But the pilot season, which first season that ever was, we had less people playing this past 2 seasons ago, I guess now, than we did in the original season. So.
So it's not getting bigger. It's definitely getting
smaller.
No,
the game mode's bleeding players.
Yeah, it's got issues. Pokey, it was hard enough to get 7 people together for clan battles when we started getting stomped by Bravo squads from top clans. Nobody ever wanted to play anymore.
Alpha Bravo was such a bad idea. It's
so?
A good idea on paper. It's a good idea on paper, but it's terrible in practice.
I think Alpha and Bravo is acceptable if you do 5v5 or 3v3s. I think Alpha, so that way you can get more people in your clan actually playing if you have 3v3s or 5v5s. Instead of 7v7, now I have 14 people from the same clan going in, and then you can have 20, you could have 7 or 8 different teams, and they're all boosting the clan at the same time, but only in smaller aspects.
I think it would be acceptable even if they're Alpha Bravo, you get points on your Bravo team based on what your Alpha rating is. So that's the part that annoys me the most, right? Is you have a team that is their Alpha team, assuming the Alpha team is the first one, Bravo team is the second. Some clans do it different, but that's for this example. You have a clan that is a Storm that is going through for the first time and trying to get into Typhoon, and they are Storm level, and you have a team that is best of 5 trying to get into Hurricane, and you then have a Bravo team. That is Hurricane level, that's just leveling up some more stuff to have something to do. How is that fair for that team to potentially lose a game and lose 30 plus rating to a clan that's better than they are? Like, how is that fair? I don't get how that's fair at all for any of that. So I think Alpha Bravo is good on paper, because on paper it allows a team to get more people playing. Mm-hmm. It allows a team to have a training time, but I think in reality it completely messes over teams that aren't able to actually use it.
Right.
And it only really benefits clans that have a lot of people and that are good. I think it completely shits on smaller clans, which is what you need to make clan battles a thing.
Yep. GMC Yukon wants to know if the Winston is just a stuffed pillow. Humper D says having clan battles being played 24 hours a day would not work at all for his clan. I mean,
then clan battles in general don't work for his clan, so I don't know what he's going to do.
I don't know. I mean, like, if you could run clans, if you run clan battles 24 hours a day, and you don't have enough people that you could get, set a time, set your own time. Okay, guys, we're going to play at this time. Not at 6 o'clock. Well, 3 o'clock works better for us. Then go fucking play at 3 o'clock, whatever. And then you need to find you need to find a clan that you can fit into if you want to play clan battles.
Well, I mean, like, I don't even get what I was trying to prove, though. Hey, even if it was available 24/7, that doesn't work for us. Well, then just say clan battles don't work for you, because you can't get the players together no matter what. I don't know what you do then other than offering 24/7.
Yeah. Mutt 1522 says, Sirvenom and MEjash, thank you for all your content. It's helped my gameplay get better.
GG's, man.
Hell yeah. Give credit where credit's due. It's all MEjash.
There you go.
Yep. Zalon Show here says, question for the Winston, does he like treats?
Oh, yeah. He definitely does. He's a fatty.
Sir Venom, do you see a power creep as a problem? As a problem, no, but natural. It's a natural progression. When they try to put something that changes or something that's different, it ends up breaking some of the older shit. And so they have to continually adjust the older stuff to bring it up, or they have to continue to adjust the new stuff, bringing it down. which is the balance. And what we're seeing with something like the Smolensk, where they're turning shit up to 11, Colbert, where they push Atlanta style play up to the 11. Some of the older things are just out of hand. Just can't keep up with some of it. Is it a problem? No, I don't think it's a problem. I just think it's normal. It's normal for a game that's been out for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, like they, people can give Wargaming shit everything, right? I mean, they give Wargaming shit for giving them free stuff. So, but like the game has to keep evolving, right? It has to keep evolving. So, but I think when they try to think of stuff, they're kind of locked by what they can do. And I hate using the realism word because then people get actual players start.
Yeah.
They start using like actual realism as a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's not what I mean. But yeah, I think that's something that's going to always kind of hold the game back in a way. And so I hope that in 2020 they break out of that shell and can start doing some fun stuff just to be fun. The 1v1 thing is very optimistic for me because I think that's a game mode that's fun just to be fun. And I hope we see more stuff like that.
We didn't talk about it. We talked about it last week with Overlord Bo, but he didn't play too much of it. So we didn't talk about that at all. I really enjoyed the 1v1. I was very skeptical about 1v1s, but when I got in there, other than the CVs, I had a blast.
Yeah, it was fun. It's ranked sprint, so it's goofy. Ranked sprint skill levels pretty low. Mm-hmm. You never lost progress, which is everybody's dream when it comes to rank. You never lose a star. So, yeah, I think it's definitely, I think it's a fun game mode. I mean, they could throw it in. And I saw on the Discord, a lot of people wanted like a permanent game mode, and I think when you get a permanent game mode, you then lose the fun part of the game mode.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely something they should throw in the rotation because that would make ranked sprint more fun because it wouldn't happen as often. I mean, I love ranked sprint, but I feel like even after a little while, it was a little bit of burnout because they kind of started throwing at you like almost every update, and you're like, all right, relax a little bit. It's a fun game mode, but don't ruin it.
Do it ranked, and then the next.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, do you do a ranked sprint here, then you do the clan battles, and then the next ones are full ranked, and then the next ones they do clan battles again, and then let's do another ranked sprint after that.
Then they can alternate
it kind of keeps it fresh. Hey guys, it's something fresh. Something else to do instead of having to grind out fucking 8 million games in ranked season or clan battles. Yeah, I thought it was a fucking phenomenal. What was your boat?
I just because I was just doing one of the directives. I was so far behind because holidays. I got sick, yada yada. So I missed a ton of time for the directives. So I just did the Massachusetts for about half the games, and I did about Tippets for half the games. So I kind of did two of the stronger ones. Now I really do think that it was obviously ranked sprint. So if you ask anybody what they used, they played well in it, and it was strong. It's ranked sprint. So. I used X ship, it was good. Well, I think if it was real ranked, you would probably see a few more. You see some different ships. Obviously, you'd see CVs beating the ever living shit out of people. I think you'd see some destroyers doing a lot better than that. So you'd see some ships that people maybe thought were strong, maybe not do so well.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was good, and I think Battleship's pretty strong. And if Battleships are ever strong in any game mode, it's a popular game mode. So
yeah,
there you go.
I played the Eugene. I played it twice. 56 games the first time, 44 games the second time.
There you go, man. Easy peasy.
I just kind of went in there. The only ones I had issues with was the Massachusetts Turpitses that turned around and kited. So that was the only deal. And the ones that sat in the caps, and I had to push them. And if they sat in the caps and they turned away from me, I wasn't going to catch them. I wasn't going to win the game. So, but I only struggled against that. And then the Montpelier fucking shit on me every time I saw it. The Montpelier shit on me, man. There wasn't much I could do against it either. So
I know I played against a Cleveland Battle Royale Cleveland, and I almost one tapped him like right away. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But
no clan.
Well, Battle Royale likes Battle Royale games.
Is it? Either way.
So I don't know. PUBG maybe.
Zalon Show says their place of lines and premiums seem to have picked up over the last year or two. I didn't do a count on how many they released this year as I was going through, but it's a lot. We had 1 month with 1 ship, and I think every other had at least 2. Every other month had at least 2 ships. Some of them had 4, depending on like when the Halloween event or the Alaska Black and all those ships came out. Those 4 boats they all came out in the same month. Though. But other than that, man, there was a lot. There was a lot ships coming out this month. Not only that, but the French DD line, the Soviet battleship line, the British cruiser line, British carrier line, and the Italian cruisers all came out this year as well. So that's a lot of boats this year. Or 2019.
I think 2019, which is tough, right? I think it's tough to get away because the Wargaming is going to look at obviously their spreadsheets, and as a 2019 as a player of the game, I think the game got much worse and it wasn't a very good year for the game.
No,
but I think Wargaming probably made a fuck ton of money this year,
so
and players continued to grow. Yeah. They continued to grow and stayed steady. So that's my fear, is that we'll see more of this past year, and less of like maybe progress towards a better game. But yeah, I think we will continue to get more and more premium ships because
people are spending
lots of money.
If you build it, they will come, man. That's the way it is. Mutt 1522 says, when are they going to introduce the Harpoon anti-ship missiles?
Soon, TM.
Soon trademark. Yeah, there you go. Zalon shows that I really wish we could come up with a workable land attack / convoy attack modes. I prefer those before the weirder stuff like Arms Race, where you start going wilder with the meta. I still think Arms Race is good enough based solely on that last rank season tier 9 to be in the actual rotation of randoms.
Arms Race?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to end up doing with it, because that's when they first announced it, like, hey, Arms Race is coming back. I thought they were going to do like a temporary game mode.
That's what I thought.
But then it just ended up being just rank battles. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
In the initial release of Arms Race, they put it as their own game mode, and there was really no incentives to go over there. You couldn't go over there, and they had released it, and then they released directive missions, and you playing in that Arms Race didn't count. So people were not. They were like, I want to get these boats instead of playing this fucking game mode. So they ruined the game mode on their own by releasing it at the same time as this, and then not having it be counted. And I don't think that anything in this game, if you want it to be successful, you have to reward it properly, and that was not a proper reward for that. So they took that and they were like, maybe this isn't as good as we think it is. Because of that, and it was their own damn fault for that. So, but I think
it was Arms Race in general. I think was kind of, you learned how to play it during the rank season. That was a lot of the first maybe 20 games you played. You're kind of learning how it all worked because no one played it.
You learned what are my limitations, where do I need to go, what do I need to watch out for. It took about 20 games or so. It was one of my favorite rank seasons, other than the first rank season that I ranked out on, which is the first tier 8 season. Back when there was only 2 DDs that you could play.
Yeah.
You weren't. It was. I guess there was 3, but nobody was playing the Low Yang back then because it didn't have the buffed Hydro at that point. So it was Benson or the old Fubuki.
We'll see what happens, though. I mean, Arms Race, I think overwhelmingly was a very popular. I think
it's just approachable by a lot of different people.
Well, it just promoted movie. It was a completely different gameplay that we really haven't seen.
We've never seen
where you got rewarded for actually going around the map. But this entire, like, no joke, you know that I love rank battles and I play on multiple.
Yeah, we do. We both do.
This upcoming season might be the first one that I don't play.
It's
Arms Race.
And it's Arms Race. The last season, I really didn't give 2 fucks about. I really did. I played it. Was pretty I played it, and I got to rank 5 pretty relatively quickly, within 45 games or something like that. Got to rank 5, and they just didn't really care. Just did not really care to finish. I did continue to play because it's rank season. People want to see rank season, and that frustration, and I ended up at 5, and I just was like, oh well, I'm not really upset at me not ranking out,
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we need Wargaming to not be silent on the rank battles. Now it's not for a while.
It's in
So
February, yeah.
yeah.
It's at
So we
the end of
gotta at least
February,
support
actually.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of
So
time. I'd like to hear some more behind them. What do you want to hear from
that they say, "Hey, Lamau, it's just gonna be tier 9. Have fun."
them?
That's what I hope they say. But
Tier 9 or 7
what
or
I
5
think
without
what I think
CV.
they'll end up saying is like, "Oh yeah, we just meant battleships because they took the resources on them."
Right.
That's what I imagine they'll say. And then they'll, of course, add in with the main armament or main battery. They'll probably just add in secondaries as well as AA, and then they'll just call it good there. So,
Yeah.
I think CVs will continue to stay in this upcoming ranked season, obviously, and but I think those are probably two of the fixes they'll throw on there quickly and then move on.
Right. And I'm going to stand by this till the day I stop playing this game. CVs have no business being in any kind of competition, rank battles or clan battles or any other thing out there.
I think they do, but I think they have too much control. 8v8, you started to get a little bit more into a little bit more space, and whatnot. But as for
All right, so let me
like
amend this. Let me amend
as
this
for
and say
77, it just doesn't work.
I was going to right. So let me amend this. In the current state of CVs now, with 7v7s or 6v6s or 5v5s, there's not enough AA to go around. The AA becomes almost non-effective with 5 boats there.
Mm-hmm.
7, maybe, but not when you're having to spread out and go cap these things. You cannot do it as a team. You are going to get your shit pushed in as a destroyer this time around. It's going to suck. So when they're doing specific specialty game modes like arms race, which I don't know, you want to call it specialty or whatever, keep it at the odd tiers to where there's not even a question you can't have CVs in it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the funny part is like 7v7 was the first time they did tier 10 CVs. It was so bad. It was so bad. And then now we're gonna get the same format, 7v7, and now they're gonna be buffed. So like it's, hey, it didn't work the first time, but now let's see if the same thing works. But now let's buff them.
Let's buff them up to fucking 11, man. I'm telling you, man, they got to get off of this fucking 11 kick, man. Well, they need to get off of the CV kick in general, but that's neither here nor there. Bismarck, Super Bismarck says if Yoshima makes it into the live server, it's going to be a starting point for other nations to have battleships with 20-inch guns too.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
gives them content that they can make. But
again, natural progression. You just copy pasta Montana, put 20-inch guns on it. Copy pasta GK, put 20-inch guns on it, and it's more content for minimal work, which wargaming is all about right now.
Yep.
Samster Redclaw says, I always played Big Gun Conqueror. It was sad they took it away, but they made the stupid Thunderer. I played a lot of the Big Gun Conqueror as trolls because the chat said so, and I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than the regular Conqueror because the Conqueror is boring. Honestly, it's a boring, have very minimal impact on the game until late. And all you're doing is slinging HE, slinging HE, slinging HE. Big Gun Conqueror, you had an option now. You can sling the AP on just about any angle it did, bro.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Zalan show, what concerned me about the 457s is the 30 millimeter overmatch you get, and then the reaction of a bunch of cruisers getting 30 millimeter or more all over, and now all the 16-inch battleships can't do crap again because they can't overmatch it like they used to. I read that, and all I can say is all those 15-inch gun boats out there are screaming, what about us? What about us? Because I think that 15-inch guns at tier 8 and above are absolutely some of the worst. You can't pin anybody on angles. We're talking some of the best ships in the game. The Bourgogne, the John Bart, all 15s, the Reach Around, the Alsace. Going back to tier 7, the Gneisenau's got 15 inches. The Bismarck, the Tirpitz. These boats fucking struggle to pin these cruisers. And that's their job, is to knock these fucking things out. But Baltimore can just bow up to you and you can't fucking pin it. Demonies can just bow up to you. You can't pin it. Or you bounce 11 shells off the side of, off the bow of a Baltimore in an Alsace. It's very frustrating. It's very hard to want to play and want to make pushes because all they have to do is bow up to you and you can't do shit to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's the downside, right? Is you get those explosive ships, but they kind of need a broadside to really do much.
Yeah.
It's the balancing of HEAP. But yeah, that was the worst playing Jean Bart in the Tier 9 season, not arms race, but Tier 9 season. When you saw Buffalo, you're just like, oh, I'm not going to do anything to you.
Yep, time to HE. Time to swap over to HE spam. Either way, I don't much like 15-inch guns. 16-inch guns with some of the higher tiered boats still struggle. I mean, like you can't even pin the Demonies with 16-inch guns from the bow unless you hit. Was it high or low? I know that there's something you could hit. I can't remember if the Demonies you hit high or if the Demonies you hit low.
Probably high.
Probably high. All right. Anyway, I think 510 is a rabbit hole that Wargaming will regret going down. I don't think they'll regret it at all because people will buy it. People will buy battleships with big fucking guns, even if they're terrible. I mean, just look at the Georgia. Just look at the Ohio. Yeah, just got to get those jabs in there, Josh.
Yeah.
Got to get those jabs in there. It's going to be popular. It's a battleship. Battleships are so popular right now. I think anybody can pick up a battleship and do well, or at least feel like they're doing well, simply for the fact that they have that. There's always that potential for that one-shot damage, and once you get that one-shot damage, it satisfies a hunger and a craving for people to just shit on people.
It's the easiest, most forgiving class in the game.
Yeah,
so that's why it's the most popular.
Yep. Unless there's some kind of 35 millimeter threshold that they bring in, and that gets to overmatch. That is going to make a big difference. I think Venom and Josh are correct. He's talking about 510s.
Yeah.
What is your feeling about the rank 1v1 setting? New to me, and I really enjoyed it. I think we just talked about that. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. I think most people enjoyed the fact that they couldn't lose a damn star. So you never really went backwards, and you eventually ranked out. All you had to do was win.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was. It was always forward progression. The level of play was extremely low, so it was easy to win. Ask anybody that played. Everyone played well, and there was no punishment for playing bad. So I mean, it's the perfect game mode for the player base, right? You get rewarded basically no matter what. So, and it was really efficient for doing the PR grind.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, getting all that base XP. So yeah, it's the perfect game mode for this game. So. That's why I like it as a fun game mode, for them to maybe rotate in because it's just fun to play. But hopefully they don't ruin a good thing. But yeah, I mean it's exactly what like the majority of the players need. The average player isn't very good, so they need a game mode that they only basically progress in. So, and that was rank sprint. I mean.
Yeah. That was
sorry, 1v1.
Overall enjoyable.
It was more enjoyable than I thought it'd be, but I was also
dude,
super sick when I played it too.
You know what, man? I was like, this is gonna be fucking stupid. I was really against it, and then I was like, fine, fuck y'all, I'm gonna go play it. And I actually found myself rolling through them in one day. 50 games here, 44 games there.
Fast games. Yeah, I liked it. Fast games, action. Yeah, pretty much.
Very little downtime, except when you had a CV and you were doing circles for the fucking 8 minutes waiting for the goddamn time to kick.
Pretty much.
I'm excited for a proper German H-class battleship, which hopefully Yashima will be a precursor for. But what I am worried about is this increasing tendency toward higher ships. We need more new lines, such as battlecruiser lines and other designs-built vessels. Well, their intent is 4 lines a year. That's what they said 2 years ago. They put out 4 lines in 2018. They put out 4 lines last year. We're about to get our first line, which is the British heavy cruisers. And then the next up is the Pan-European DDs. So there's 2 lines, and then we have still 2 more that they haven't said anything about. So it's always coming. I mean, there's always something new coming. As for tech tree lines, I think all these super cruisers that are coming out are going to be premium. Period. Because that people will buy.
Oh yeah, I think so.
People will buy. I mean, people asked for the
People
Alaska for
buy.
years and years and years, and when they did, it's probably one of the most sold fucking boats that I've seen.
Coal / tier 10. I still don't. I mean, you can call PR whatever you want, yada yada. You can just spend a bunch of doubloons, sure. But I still don't think they'll ever just in the premium store sell a tier 10. But I think all of those tier 9 premiums. So you have the Siegfried, you have the Odin at tier 8, you have the new thing.
Slava.
The Slava's 10.
I know.
But like I'm just saying, all like the tier 9 stuff. I think all that will be coal or free XP, and or steel. I guess if it's steel, it probably won't be. But I think all that will eventually just be sold in the premium shop. If it's tier 9 and under, I think it's fair game for them to make money for it.
It depends on
whatever the new tier 9 German ship is. I just forgot to do it. I think
I don't know.
It'd be stupid for them not to throw it in there.
Idea or something like that. I don't know. I don't have it up anymore. I think they made a unique thing with the Smolensk. They did something very smart, and other than not bringing out the Smolensk, they did something really smart. Is they sold it for fucking coal. And if you give it away for coal, then you can fucking nerf it if it needs a nerf later. If they had sold that motherfucker for 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks or whatever, they would not be able to change it. So it was something smart.
They started doing that disclaimer too. If you notice, like this, I don't know if it doesn't quite say this, but like basically, like we have the right to change the ship. So I just think they need to slap that on everything. They should have that on everything because they
reserve the right
do
to
have
change this for balance purposes.
Yeah, because people may not think that and like, oh, we're gonna, everyone's gonna sue Wargaming for stuff,
Wasn't it something that they did over in the EU? They said that we paid for this, we want it like this.
I have no idea. But,
I'm not sure. But I think the player base missed the mark on this. Bitching and moaning about them changing. You remember the shitstorm they did when they tried to change the fucking Julius Caesar?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's like a weird situation.
Well, it's definitely a weird situation. And number one, fuck your wallet. I want balance in the game more than anything else. The player base missed an opportunity to balance out some ships, to really nerf the ships that needed a nerf because of this. Julius Caesar still to this day averages more than some of the tier 6 battleships, and that's tier 5, and that shouldn't be happening. Tier 6 should theoretically be better than tier 5s. And when they threw the fit, Wargaming threw up their hands and said, okay, what you told us is that you don't want balanced ships. You want fucking broken, overpowered bullshit. So I don't want to hear anything else about the Smolensk and how broken it is because y'all didn't want this other change. And think about what potential we could have had. Belfast gets a fix. Kudrsav gets a fix. Kudrsav comes back for sale. Grimmy comes back for sale. And then now people can experience these other boats that they don't have instead of just spending gobs and gobs of money trying to get them out of fucking Christmas boxes.
Yeah, I think I've always said that. I wish that that Wargaming would have just ripped the Band-Aid off and balanced these ships and resold the ships, and everyone could get the Belfast, everyone could get all these other things.
Yep.
I wish they would have done that, but I think they handed the Julius Caesar, not PR bad, but they handed it about as poorly as they could because of how they went about changing it. I think if they kept the Caesar at tier 5, I think we have a nerfed Caesar. I think it goes through, but they made it a tier 6.
Yeah,
that wasn't what people bought, and that's how they kind of fucked themselves over, basically.
Yeah, they PR wise there was actually not bad. I mean, like that's like one of the PR things that they haven't fucked up lately. Well, that was a couple of years ago, but either way. Master Kane says, I played with Sirvenom in every Gneisenau game. I can confirm that he hated every second, but was on top of the board a lot. So I know how to play it. I just don't like it. That's all the questions. Now we're up at 3 hours and 17 minutes. It's a long ass fucking cast, man. We're getting.
Is this the longest one?
No, we're pretty close. Another 10 minutes or
Damn.
so. For me and Virtual Senpai, we go off on each other here sometimes. So if you want to wait, we can talk about something for 10 minutes and we can break the record, man.
No, I'm out.
He's like,
I'm
fuck
out.
y'all, man. Fuck y'all,
Yeah.
I'm out.
I don't have shit to talk about.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank MEjash for coming in onto the channel, man. Twitch.tv/MEjash. Go hit him up on his Twitter, MEjash TV, or over on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/MEjash. I am sirvenomik over here at twitch.tv/sirvenomik. Hello. Come on over for the YouTube guys. Or over at...
Come on over.
Come on over. If you want to have a live conversation, man, hit us up right there on our particular Twitch channels. If you guys want to get me after hours or whatever at sir_venom_ik over on the Twitter. There's the Discord if you guys missed it. The ship of the week is the Sims. I will accept Sims B. Sims and Sims B, courtesy of my man MEjash. So get out there, play some Sims and Sims B, and I want to see some ridiculous experience. That's what we're basing this week off of, experience, because Sims and Sims B have a really stupid experience boost modifier. So let's see it. Let's see how high you guys can get this week, and I'll give you guys some camo codes or a box code from my CC codes that I got. That's what we got. You got anything you want to tell them before we go?
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
That's all I got.
I fell asleep for a second. Could you repeat everything after welcome to the podcast? Okay. You ready?
Hit it.
You ready for this? All right, we
Yeah.
talked about shit. Done. Boom. How's
Done.
that explain it?
New ships are things. They
New
got to be
ships are things. They've gotta
Upgrades
do
are
stuff.
happening. They're upgrades.
New ships, new lines, new directive to get British cruisers. I guess that's the next big thing that comes out tomorrow, I believe, on the 15th.
How do you think that line's gonna be received?
Is it going to do anything better than anything else? Is it going to do?
I
Is it going to do a better job than the
truly-
American DD or the American heavies? I don't
Oh,
know.
absolutely, because American Heavies bring radar.
Yeah.
No, so they have the advantage. I think these fight for the same position as the IGN cruisers have.
Do you think they're long range cruisers? I mean, I was playing them up close to islands, because IJ and cruisers are generally long range HE spammers.
I would say, as in, like, these are going to be stealthy.
Okay.
Stealthy.
So filling a closer range, stealthier aspect as opposed to long range stealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely so in these two categories of cruisers that we have, long range HE spammers and quasi island humpers or smoke humpers. The longer ranges are separated by speed, stealth, and tankiness, and then whatever the fuck the Italian is. And we're talking, speed is the Henry, the Hindenburg is the tanky, and then the Zhao is the stealthy. You're saying that this is going to take that position on the island humpery type thing?
No, I don't think it'll be very island humpery. I think it'll be just like the Zhao, where it's going to be fairly stealthy. Can use its armor and get in a big, nice alpha strike with HE/AP dump torps, and then disappear with a decent amount of armor /heal, and or kind of hang around and farm some stuff down. But everyone I played against during the testing, now this is right during the holidays,
right,
and when I was sick too was when those were available, so I didn't really play too much. So I didn't really get to play too many of them. But I mean, how effective was the Exeter? What is the Exeter? Oh, you know what I'm excited for?
All right.
The London. London was one I really enjoyed.
You told me about that, and I had several other guys tell me about the London. That, oh man, this thing is really nice for its tier. It's fucking, was it tier 6?
I think tier 5 or tier 6.
Tier 5 or 6. They were very impressed with that boat, and they were like, "Hey, you need to play it." And I never fucking played it because when I do testing, I don't like playing this game alone. I find this game very droll and boring when I'm playing by myself, because I always like to play with more dudes, and the more dudes that I can play with, the better. So I don't do a lot of the testing ships at all. I just once they gave us the requirement of not having to do them, then I just stopped. Unless it's something that I'm interested in. So like the Pan-European DDs, I will be doing those because I find those interesting. But anyway, no, there were a lot of people saying that the London was phenomenal.
It had a very short range, but it also was really stealthy. And so you would just get close to something and just obliterate it. Cruisers, destroyers, all that kind of stuff. You would just obliterate it. And you were a little tanky, nothing crazy, but
How'd you
those
do?
203s and those mid tiers is dirty.
How'd you do versus battleships? Because I mean that's really
Uh,
that's really the key here, right? I mean, obviously, cruisers they're set up to counter DDs, right? That's
yeah.
in their triangle of doom here. Cruisers over destroyers over battleships over cruisers. How did it do against the battleships? I mean, with its HE, I'm assuming it sets fires. So
Yeah, I mean it's 203 HE, so the alpha damage is going to be decent, and
God,
the
the
fire chance is going to be
203s,
relatively
man,
high.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really it's going to be a popular line. Do you think? Do you think it'll be popular with the damage, or do you think
Mm,
it's going to be another? Because like the light cruisers, I tend to when new players come in, what lines should I go up? And I tell them to stay away from the light cruisers because it takes a little bit more knowledge of positioning and angling,
well, they're
and
just super unforgiving.
yeah, but there's very little margin for error, and it takes a little bit more skill to play the light cruisers than the heavy cruisers. Do you think? Where do you think that these rank on skill levels?
Um, it's kind of tough to really, you have to weigh, okay, what's fun, what's good, what's, any of these basically. So, um, I wouldn't put it. I would put other lines as fun. I would put other lines as good, easier to play. These ones, they have pretty flat walls,
Mm-hmm.
so they're gonna eat citadels fairly easily.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a nice little heal, so you can make up for it if you do mess up. No radar, so I think they're going to be in the middle of the
Middle of
pack.
the range.
Yeah.
Well, let's go one for the easiest and 10 for the hardest. I think the highest skill level in this game currently is the Italians, strictly for the fact that you don't get any bonus damage. There, it's all you.
I think 100% it's Rural Light
You
as
think
the hardest line.
the light is all
100%.
okay? Uh, the only based on purely damage, I think that's the Italians. The higher skill players are going to love those more than the lower skill players because they have to do it all. My number two pick for the hardest would be also the light cruisers, the light cruiser line,
Yeah.
because they're so just okay. You're done. You're gone. Bye.
Yeah.
See you later.
It's so much more about positioning for the Royal Navy light cruisers.
Yeah.
That's why but no, I would put the Italians. Um, I would put the Italians not as bad as Royal Navy, but I think the Italians are much harder because you get into some spots where you actually kind of have to know where to aim, and a target selection means a little bit more on that ship
You
because
can't
obviously
just
you're not going to burn down ships.
right. You can't just randomly spam like you can with some of the other cruisers. But yeah, totally, I agree. As for the easiest one, what do you think the easiest line to learn is? Honestly, I generally send people down two lines when they first start: Japanese and the Germans, because they play consistently from 5 all the way to 10. There's no change in the gameplay.
Yeah, I think IGN is the easiest. It's basically the same thing from tier 5 all the way to tier 10.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. Numbers get a little bit bigger, but you're
Ranges get a
shooting
little bit longer
203s. You're shooting 203s.
from the furry taco on.
Yeah, and you have 10-kilometer torps from the furry talk on, and 10K plus, I guess, is a better way of saying it. But yeah, I would say IGN is definitely the easiest overall.
I would agree with that. Well, all right, now it's official. You have the longest cast and the most. The longest and the most, guys. Anything else you want to chit chat about?
That's all I got, man. That's all. Are you excited for any upcoming games, Venom?
Game? I don't even, dude. I'm kind of stoked for Cyberpunk 2077. I'm pretty stoked for that. Not has zero to do with Keanu Reeves being in it, but
Yeah.
I've been reading up on it, and the gameplay, the game looks pretty amazing, and I really like Mass Effect, and it kind of gives me that feel a little bit where your actions actually mean something. For the most part, I honestly don't know what else is coming out, man.
Yeah, there's like that. Is Diablo 4 this year?
No, no, no. Diablo 4 is not going to be anytime soon. It'll probably be another 2 years, I think, before it comes
Damn.
out. It's not going to be this year. But I'll definitely be stopping to play Diablo 4 for a while. I would
Yeah.
definitely be switching over there because that's my roots in streaming was Diablo.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I say, what else is
Kind of
there?
interested in the newest season of Path of Exile. It's pretty dope.
I never got into Path of Exile.
I'm living it vicariously through my man Mori Kyopa because he plays it, and I just can't be bothered to grind it out anymore. But I like watching it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just intimidating. I still need to do a playthrough for Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's amazing game.
Yeah, I want to do that. Obviously, I'm doing a playthrough. Well, now we're not tonight, but we'll have to do it tomorrow. My dog is apparently fighting a demon behind me currently. But RimWorld, I'm excited to actually try out. And then what else is there? I feel like I'm missing out on like 2 or 3
I don't know.
games.
What do you guys think, chat? Is there what other games are coming out? I know Blackwing Lair is coming out soon.
Yeah, BWL is coming out in less than a month. Or I think right at about a month. So very excited about that. Go get some new purples, kill some other dragons. Good to go.
I'll be watching. I won't be partaking.
I'm excited for World Warships. It's gonna be so much fun. Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so much fun.
Shadowlands. I've never heard of Shadowlands.
Oh, that's the retail, World of Warcraft retail, which comes out.
Oh,
now?
yeah,
A couple days.
Oh, is it out soon? Is it out real soon?
Yeah, I think a couple days. I think the Road to World first comes out.
I tell you what, I am excited for. In 10 days, I start my bowling league.
Oh shit, dude!
We're doing it on Fridays, man. We're doing it on Fridays.
There you go.
Because it was the only time that me and my man, one of my mods, Shadow Sins, lives in the same town as I do, and we go bowling, and we were like, hey, let's go do a league, and he's like, okay, I'll go with you. I was like, fuck yeah! So we went. We've been practicing. We went bowling last night, and fuck, man, my back is killing me, dude. Let's put it this way.
Those bowling muscles, dude. Those bowling muscles.
Well, I mean, it's been 50, almost. Let's see. I got married in '99, and I think I rolled a league in 2000, early 2000. Then we got pregnant with our first kid, so I couldn't afford to go bowling anymore. So it's been fucking 20 years since I actually went and did a league. Plus, I'm also about 100 pounds heavier too. So it's a definite. Interesting things, but I'm ready. I'm ready for this stuff, man. When will Slava be released? I doubt Slava will ever get released. It's so what the game needs. It's so what the game needs, but they won't do it because everybody thinks it's broken. Don't you?
I think it promotes potentially the worst thing that could happen to this game right now.
It doesn't matter. People do it anyway.
But you don't need to promote it even more.
Well, I mean, they can't.
I mean,
can't
just take away Battleship HE at that point.
They can't.
I mean, let's just go full.
I'm telling you.
But you don't need to be like.
Why not?
You don't need to make more people do it.
Everybody wants battleships to push into. Everybody wants battleships not to be so fucking far away, right? But then they give us things like the Colbert and the fucking Smolensk. So why the fuck would I want to go in there anyway? Let me be accurate. Let me be a battleship. Let me be long range fucking AP spammer and fucking actually hit something. It's great for them.
I would rather have them change the things that are causing people to play passive. And have more things that promote people going forward than bringing Slava. I think Slava's terrible.
Actually, something we didn't talk about because we talked about it on podcast past, but the IFHE change that's coming in, cutting out 50% of the fire damage. Now,
if that's even the final thing.
Yeah, one of my biggest issues with I honestly think that they should just take IFHE out of the game. Period. At this point, it has caused more fires than it would normally cause because of the more pins, so you have more potential fires. Because if you don't pin, then if you break your HE shells, your chance of setting fires is lower. But when you pin, even if it's -1 or -2%, you end up getting more fires than you would if you didn't have it.
I think they should just simply change inertia or IFHE to do you want to shoot what you are shooting and cause fires, or do you want to pen more and do more alpha damage?
So you're saying take fire chance out altogether?
100%.
Absolutely.
That's the trade-off.
I'm I'm very partial to not being on fire. I kind of like not being on fire, but I'm on fire all the time, and I'm hoping that when they change this to 50% fire chance, maybe it'll cut down some of that. And I still want to see fire prevention better. I want number one, they need to change it from fire prevention. The name fire prevention is very misleading because minus 10% is not 10%, guys. It's you don't start out at 90%. It's 10% of what's coming in at you. So 65% on the Thunderer, that's still, 6.5% going off. That's still 59 fucking percent or whatever the numbers are. It's still really fucking high fire chance. So it's a misleading fucking title. And I don't care if I'm on 3 fires all the time. If I'm still on 3 fires all the time, what does it fucking matter if I'm burning? Because HE doesn't matter when it comes to fires. But anyway.
Yeah.
Wouldn't 100% fire reduction make it into SAP?
Basically, I mean, that's why it's kind of like poorly timed. But I mean, the problem that we have is like when you bring in SAP would have different bounce angles and stuff like that. But still, I mean, the problems you run into this game is like when things like 203s. It's you have ships that fire faster, that with inertia fuse they can do a ton of damage. Right. So they do a ton of damage, but on top of that, they still fire so fast that they're still getting lots of fire. Mm-hmm. So this
is where you fall in the small leagues.
Yeah, you have a very tough time balancing, and then you get into other things like even just using the new IJN battleship as an example, like with the shells themselves, how much pen they have. But if you add inertia fuse to that, you get into some awkward math, of potentially just ripping out HE citadels on. So. Who knows?
I mean, we still on the Thunderer, the Conqueror, even the small gun Conqueror, in some of I think I've got a few on the Republic. HE Citadels are not a very common thing, but you can get it, and there is potential for them.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about the new one though.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. There was a feller that I made fun of endlessly for the last 2 years. Whenever IFHE was released. So it's been a while now. That said, the only way to play the Yamato is IFHE Yamato. And I gave that dude so much fucking shit. I gave him so much shit, and now it's been kind of prophetic, dude. Because now what do you do with 510s and IFHE pen values?
Full circle, man. And just like the Hindenburg.
Now I refuse to apologize to that guy because for that 2 years up until this point with this announcement of this new boat, it's been a fucking idiotic thing to do because you're losing so much potential damage with your AP.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We've ended the show 3 times at this point. Anything else?
Yeah. I think we're good, man. I think we're good. I gotta let the pup out.
You got the pup? Yeah. I need to go let my dogs out as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been twitch.tv/MEjash at MEjash TV, youtube.com/MEjash, twitch.tv/sirvenomik, right here at Sir_Venom_IK over on the Twitter. Give them, say good night, man.
Good night.
Take us out. Guys, thanks for watching, man. I am sirvenomik. I have one guy tentatively playing. He hasn't got back to me for next week. Also, one of the guys from the chat that you guys hear quite a bit, Fitz and Your Mom, will be here on the January 28th. And I have Lord Zath. Lord Zath said that he would like to come in, so we're looking at sometime early February picking up Lord Zath for the podcast. Those are our next 2 episodes, our next 3 episodes. Starting January 22nd, 28th, and the 4th. Probably more long. Yeah, 22nd is a Wednesday because that's when that guy has off. So either way, look for that, guys. I love you. Don't forget Sims and Sims B in the Discord. If you guys want to get a chance, just go out there. I'm looking for the most experience this week, courtesy of his Sims and Sims B. Go put it in their podcast ship of the week over on the Discord, discord.gg/sirvenomik. That's it. That's all I got for you. I love you, man. Episode 42 is in the books. I want a big shout out to MEjash. Thank you for joining us again. And maybe I'll tap you when something else big hits. This kind of was really good fucking timing, man, because I hit you up for this in December, and I was not expecting all this crap to come out in the last 4 days. So I was like, okay, guys,
skipped over some of it.
Well, yeah, there's a lot more that I didn't talk about because we're at 3.5 hours now.
Yeah.
So we could go on, but I know Winston probably can't go on much longer.
Well, apparently he just passed out. But yeah, regardless.
Regardless, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I love you, dude. It's always an enjoyable conversation, and you have an interesting way of bringing me back to reality when I get a little bit crazy. So
one of these days I'll convince you that some Tier 7 battleships are good.
No, I didn't say they were bad. I just said compared to the cruisers, they're shit.
Fair.
All right. But I do love the Colorado, and I will take the Colorado over the Sinop all day long because I can knock the fuck out of that Sinop's bow. Yep. All right, boys.
All right, we're ending the podcast. I'm leaving.
Man.
Bye.
That's it. I love you guys. We'll see y'all next week, boys.